Hello, MGTOWs. Hello, men. I'm going to do ooh, there it is. Do a sound check here and see if everything's coming out. I see I'm buffering on that end, so I was wondering if I am coming out. So let me know how my sound is since I can't do a proper. I see I'm buffering on the. There we go. That needs to go down a little bit. I am coming out. Okay. So let me know how my sound is. Okay, that's good. I just needed to check that. It's all important to see if your sound's working. And sorry about the lighting. I lost 2 lights this week. One to a friend that borrowed it and didn't think it was important enough to bring it back, and one I have out in the garage. I'm working on something, so this area had to suffer. So the green screen lighting's a little off. Sorry about that, but that's not important. Today we're going to talk a little bit about interactions, and one of the rules of quantum physics is no interactions, no properties. What they mean is no properties. You can't weigh it. It's not measurable. It doesn't influence anything. If it's not bouncing around out there, it's not influencing anything. We apply these to everything in life. One of the great things about quantum physics is it applies to most everything in life, and it never fails. A photon without light wouldn't be measurable, so you wouldn't be able to see it. It would make no difference it was there or not. The great hopes of the insignificant objects we are often turn out to be lucid dreams when put to measurements. I suppose since Darwin first planted his ideas and Galileo first. Joey says this is cool. I'll be in there in a few. Okay, Joey. Claire will be around in a few. Claire gave approval. Or Joey's running that down now, and the reality is. All these things, now I got disturbed. All these things we described by in our prior lives by traditional conservatives, but they're far more disturbing and harmful than we ever thought they would be. We question everything as MGTOWs. After being bitten, thinking is sort of a perpetual thing. The power of MGTOW is always to question, to re-question, to begin again over, and to re-question everything we do, to be fearless in our subverting of the world's bad ideas in search of more efficient ones. That's what we're doing here at MGTOW. We're in search of more efficient ideas, only to them to put question marks over our truths and re-subvert it in the same measures and the same bad ideas. But in this case, they're often flawed. Traditional ideas are often flawed because they're working backwards. They're working back to something that never worked to begin with. So in the end, the so measurable disposable you is the object of their interactions. They will influence you, and we know this. So we do things like walk away. We do not interact. We do not commingle. We do not do these things for reasons because we want no properties of the thing. Now, when we talk about that thing that we talk about, the PUAs and the beggars, they often tell on themselves, he measures the object he interacts with. There's always a measurement of the object that he always interacts with. This is backwards thinking. In the density matrix that we measure things by, they're mapped linearly, and the density made otherwise it goes an outward process. You can't measure from backwards hindsight to the object within. It has to be a measurement from this to the matrix out, and then you get a real measurement of things. This happens in life too. You can't measure backwards by complaining. That's all we see with the That's how we see with the P-ways. They're always giving away. They're always telling themselves when they're measuring the object of their desires. You can't measure after it's been influenced. You influence everything you observe or interact with. You influence. The failure is only yours. We see this, it becomes so clear. It becomes so clear when we start interacting with people around here. We start interacting with women. We start interacting with things and objects, we'll call them. These objects we interact with. The simp interacts with the object of his desire, and then he tries to measure backwards, and it doesn't work. And he often confused why he's getting faulty and failed measurements. When I look at the MRAs, and they're constantly whining and complaining about the things that they interact with. We know what the things that they interact with are, and then you can't do that and then measure backwards. It's a failed measurement. And then we see that it becomes so obvious. One thing is you are interacting with that. You're influencing that object. And whether that object is things that you want, or that woman you want, or that you're influencing it, and you can't measure a failure backwards. It's not the failure of the object, it's your failure. You failed to measure the right way from the forward, from the neutron out to the electron, and the electron moves forward. That's the way of the universe. It also happens to be the way things work out in logic. One thing precedes another. Hello, Claire. How you doing? Are you in? No, you're not in. We often have these simp interactions in our life, or what we perceive as simps. They're just regular guys. They're searching. They're making measurements, and they're trying to find out what was the last failure and why it failed. And we see these things, and we think logically. We think the linear thing on this thing is don't interact. Do not interact, or there will be properties of that interaction. Those properties you can weigh. Those properties you can measure. Those properties have different colors or different assortments, and those properties have a lot of different things. Sometimes those properties come with pain. You've interacted with a beast of pain. There's once you're bitten, that's a property of the interaction. So the safest thing that we do is we just walk away. We go gulp. We don't interact with those properties, and we don't interact with those objects, and we don't get the properties of that failed measurement. And that's the way MGTOW sees it. It's all very logical, from Kuhn and Feyerabend, which quantified the way we do things in science, back to Galileo, that was often told he was going to be put in jail for looking at the stars by the people that didn't want him to look at the stars, didn't want them to find out that God was not up there, and he had moved farther off into the universe. From Heraclitus to Plato, it's always been the same thing with these guys. It's always a movable goalpost, backwards and backwards and backwards, which their measurements are absurd. Hey, how you doing? Did you get permission from Juliet?
Yeah, I had to sign off on about 25 forums. Yeah,
the 25 forums. Yeah, that's why I figured you were late.
yeah. How's it going? Yeah, I was catching some of the stream. I like what you were saying.
Yeah. When you look at, and we do this all the time, when we look at the MRAs and we see that they're interacting with those objects, there's rules in science, and these things are true. Quantum mechanics have rules that are never fail. And when we apply these rules to what they're saying, it looks funny because we know they're interacting with the object, and then they're getting a failed measurement, and then their measurement was because they interacted with it. It's
Hmm.
like, and we think that's hilarious when we look at it, but they think it's natural. And
Right, like the stress that these
yeah,
simps are causing me out here. I mean,
yeah,
I'm
that's
not.
a property of your interaction.
I'm exactly, and I'm at the point now. I'm almost ready to go back east because I don't want to deal with these people. Because the simp culture on the West Coast is 10 times worse than the East Coast.
Oh God, yeah. Now we had these same incidences lately. You have a friend, and I have a friend that's driving us rather wacky, and they're bending our ear daily. And it's their interactions with these things that are doing it. And we've been telling them, I've been telling my friend for close to 20 years that he's got to slow down, drinks and bitches and chicken wings and taking him out, or else they're going to kill him. Well, he had a heart attack, and he's barely 54 years old.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What is he still alive? Or?
Yeah, he's going to get his ticker fixed and everything, and he's got to slow down. Now he's preaching to me about how to be a better. You know?
Yeah, I saw that you were saying 4 years.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
4 years. You're telling him for 10 years how to help him, and yeah.
yeah, it's like the born again vegans that all of a sudden they're a vegan and they want to share this veganism with you, or they're born again non-smokers. They're gonna, no one's allowed to smoke. Everybody's like, and then they used to be this thing, and then now they're just the authority on the thing.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts, and it's one of those qualities. And to me, when I look logically at the MRAs and their constant whining and complaining about the object that their interaction with, they don't understand why the measurements are coming out wrong and why they're failed, because they interacted with it to begin with.
Right. Right, and it's like my friend that's got punched in the face. I mean, this is this is this is
Oh
like
yeah,
I think about I want to say 3 to 6 months ago, and I told him, I said, hey, that's just a warning shot. I said the next thing you know, she's gonna literally, I know I joke around about Claire stabbing people, but it's not really
yeah.
a joke. But it's kind
Well,
of a
that's
joke.
not
But it's
really a
not
joke.
really a joke. No, it's not, because those or getting shot, and because
Yeah.
women get away with murder. I mean, let's
Well,
face it.
yeah. What she's going to do is, if he eventually gets her to that point, she'll get by proxy thugs for violence, and that could be the police, that could be lawyers, that could be other men, which she probably already has. If she's punching him and she's at that point where she's inflicting pain on him and she's violating the law, she feels that she can get away with. She's probably at that point, anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just talking to this guy, like you talk about the measurement, what's the outcome? The outcome is nothing positive for me when I talk to this guy. I feel like I'm his like psychiatrist, and it takes a lot out of me. It increases my stress
Yeah, yeah,
level.
yeah.
It's terrible.
Oh, things in motion. Yeah, he's in motion, and he's affecting you, and he's like, it's like atoms, they're bouncing off of you. Now there's properties of your stress, now there's properties of your engagement. You have to take care of these things, and we all get this when we have simp friends, but at a certain point the logic has already been spoken a million times over, and they disregarded the logic, and there's nothing we can do anymore except Galt, MGTOW.
Right, right.
Go Galt a little bit. Take care of your own mental health before you even because what there is you're an emotional tampon to them, and you are an emotional tampon. A tampon will suck up all that stress. It will suck up all that pain. It will suck up. We as humans, we empathize and we sympathize, and that means we produce the same thing as that pain.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes very trying, doesn't it? I mean, friends should have more respect for friends and not bring these things to the table.
It turns an uncomplicated life as a
Yeah,
MGTOW, and then all of a sudden it gets you thinking like in the wrong direction. Like I sent you that Steve Harvey clip, right?
right.
Like,
The wrong direction. These things always go in the
yeah,
wrong direction because they're measured
yeah.
in the wrong direction.
Like, there's one example just of a 30-second clip where he's talking about how you shouldn't sleep more than 8 hours a day, and you pretty much need to work yourself to death to achieve what success? Success for what? Success to these people
So
is
for what?
trinkets. What? So you can get more trinkets?
Yeah. So you give her a
Like,
trinket.
no, that's not. But that's not what the people, the rich and powerful people, are doing. They're relaxing and they're making money on interest, and they're not killing themselves. They're sleeping
Yeah.
probably 12 hours a day. I mean, you're supposed to rest. You're not supposed to kill yourself and work like
Yeah,
a
you need
dog.
a good 8 hours sleep of rest. Well, you need 4 hours of sleep or rest a night. You should be getting 8 hours of sleep, and you should be
Yeah.
taking care of your body. Sleep's a good thing. I did a video on sleep. It's the only time when I'm really happy is when I wake up and I'm pain-free in the morning, and it was
Yeah.
like my body had time to heal after a good weekend of sleeping the whole weekend and not overexerting myself. I feel great.
Right.
I
Right.
want to stay
It's like
there.
right. Right. And that's what the trad cons want to do. They want to create this worldview where you're just working your. I mean, listen,
Right.
I have a great work ethic and whatever.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
the
but
suffering. It's
not being
you know,
lazy. It's
yeah,
just you need. It's the suffering. You're right. It's having that
the
mentality of
transversion
what's worth.
of logic. They transverse those things, which I talked about last time, and also suffering becomes good.
Right. Right. Like I went to see my buddy yesterday. He's in San Diego, and it's a long drive, and I'm glad I saw him. I haven't seen him in 5 years, and we spent a
Mhm.
little time at the pool, whatever, shot the shit, and then he's like, hey, if you want to come down Saturday, we're going to a car show, and I'm like, man, that's a long drive, and it's like I just didn't want to go. It's a long drive, and
Yeah,
I got to him once, and that was good enough, It's like I appreciated it, and I still might go, but there's a lot of traffic here, and it's just that's part of like little things like that. Like it has nothing to do with actually having having work responsibilities. It's just exerting all that energy all the time for other people all the time. It's like I remember a story you told about when before you were a strong MGTOW, you would always answer the phone for everybody and be
yeah,
there for everybody at all times, and that just wears you out, and that leads to disease and a shorter life if you're that type of person,
right.
codependent.
Killed me. I was doing two jobs. I owned a bar and trying to keep this social whatever it is, this social figure that I thought I was up, and man, it almost killed me. It wore me down. It beat me, and I did that to myself. Now that I realize that, I could have took better care of myself then. But I was simping hard at that point. I was religiousing hard.
Well, it definitely ties into it because that's how they can manipulate. Using God. I mean, that's such
That's they always they're always anti.
this judgmental God, and it's a judgmental God too, right? So it's like if you're not following the rules, if you're naughty or nice, and Santa Claus is not going to give you gifts.
Disagree with me, and you're going to go to hell.
Yeah.
It's funny how God always.
You gotta hand it to these rich people, like thousands of years ago, how they just came up with this scam, and again, it's still strong. It's thousands of years they've been able to scam people.
Right.
And people fall for it. This Steve Harvey and all this kind of stuff, and he talked about that video I sent you. He did quote the script. I think he did quote the Bible about something about working or whatever. And you're right. And they advocate suffering and slavery.
Steve Harvey. Yeah, the last time.
Terrible! What a terrible human being.
Yeah, the last time Cleveland produced a big smelly fart, it was Steve Harvey.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, he kind of quote unquote made it, but he's still a clown. So as MGTOW, we can see him as the clown that he is.
Yeah, he's often he has Dr. Oz on there, and he has Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz and Steve Harvey are pretty much the same syndicate, and they're always the banana diet, and that's horrible for men. They always have Dr. Oz coming on with what would be the next worst thing for men to do. Always get married. It's like take care of your partner, suffer hard for men, but it's always like take care of yourself and look pretty for women, and and work as little as possible.
I had a story today. Yeah, I had a story today that you're right. Work as hard as possible, and I had because I had a situation with
Hey,
with the
Wookie.
bill, and I had to get a bill paid. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're fine. You're coming through fine.
Oh, okay, I'm on the earphones, but yeah, so I had this situation, and I had to call my bank, and there was a female on there, and I had to hang up the phone on her. I said I had to just keep calling until I got a man on the phone, and finally I got a man on the phone, and he took care of it. It's like, you know, but
Yeah,
anyway, yeah, getting back to what we were talking about.
the farther you
Yeah,
pull away from them, the more and more, in my case, it becomes really hard to understand what they're saying. It's almost like blah, 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 because there's that
uh-huh,
emotional
uh-huh,
aspect to everything.
and well, and then that Schopenhauer quote too. That's the thing. Here's the
Oh,
thing, Joe. It's like the thing that really shocks me, and because we're talking about, well, MGTOW, I got exposed to it maybe 10 years ago. You've been in the game longer, but like this information was out there. Like Schopenhauer, when was he around? I mean, he was
yeah.
writing about, yeah, here's a guy that's a
1800s
brilliant,
or, yeah,
when was he around? 1800s? Yeah.
1800s, I
So,
think.
so actually the MGTOW information was actually out there. It was a little harder to find, but a guy like Schopenhauer, I mean, it's one of the greatest
Yeah,
thinkers
once you
ever, right?
start reading Schopenhauer, you realize what he's talking about, and it's basically MGTOW stuff. And yeah,
Right. So it was out there. It was out there. It's just you have to find it. It's and what he's talking about how they're just cunning by nature, right? Because that and it makes perfect sense. Like how are they going to survive
yeah,
in the elements? They have to be cunning. That's their
yeah.
nature to be cunning. Their nature to be cunning.
Their nature to be cunning and cruel and manipulative. Yeah,
And it's exactly like religion. It's the same thing. How cunning it is because religion, like Christianity. I always talk about Christianity, but like the thing is, like they throw a lot of good things in like the Proverbs, for example, like things that make sense.
yeah.
About not losing your temper, fits of rage, whatever. They have some good stuff on in there, but they mix it in. They mix it in with all this other horse shit. So you're actually better off just discarding the whole thing. I think.
Yeah, you're best. The closest I get to any kind of religion, and Mike just mentioned it, I do because it's more existentialism, and I like how ideas fit together. Is probably Hinduism, and I like I like the stories, and I like the because they don't claim there is a God, and they don't claim there is this thing that you have to suffer too. The matter of fact, their whole thing is reduce suffering as much as you can, and increase peace in your life, and that will lead to really good things. But it all turns out we can look at India, and I don't know what influences that that kind of gynocentrism in India that's oh so influent, and I think it's a decline from some of the existentialism and the thought processes that go around. But I've never did a deep dive into that, and then maybe someday I will. Uh, but we can see it so clearly in Judaism and Christianity and Judeo-Christianity and Lutheranism and Protestantism and Catholicisms and Catholicism and all those things, and Anglicanism and the worst ones are the new wave ones that want to try to jump on a star as it goes by.
Yeah.
And
I know.
what's the newest with well, I can't remember that girl, Allison May. We were talking about it the other day. Allison, she's been, she the cults that come up and pop up, and
Mhm.
it's always some weird ideas, and it's worship the woman, and it starts with that Jung's image of the archetypal woman that like Jordan Peterson put up when he did his famous "I hate you" MGTOW speech, and you look in the back, and there's Jung's image of the archetypal woman, and it's like, oh God.
Yeah. Well, the Gnostics would Sophia.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, I didn't know where this was going to go as soon as I seen that.
I know.
But
I know.
MGTOWs don't interact. When you interact, you put things in motion. When
That's
you
right.
put objects in motion, objects in
Mhm.
motion can only be stopped by hitting something, bumping into shit. You start bumping into shit, and so many times in our life is that we get told that once you put these things in, if you can't control them, they're just going to wreck everything around you.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, my best year of my life was when I went golf for like I went a year. I went a year pretty much without talking to anybody. And that
Yeah.
was the best year. That was like the best year of my life. It
Yeah.
really was. It was like low stress. I had
Yeah.
no nonsense. I didn't return phone calls. I didn't, whatever. It was great.
I remember
And I
my
think I
first.
might need to go back to that for a little bit. I might need to go back
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah, I remember my first. I'd like to recreate going galt, not like going galt like I did it. Like I was homeless and I actually was going galt. I lived in the woods. but
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 yeah, you're right. We don't advocate that. We live
we
a
don't
comfortable life.
advocate that.
But that was
That was
probably
a part of the.
I hate to say that was probably a good experience for you.
Yes, that was a good experience. It was part of the healing process. When I looked around and I separated myself, that's when I started doing walnut oil and wormwood and natural cures and stuff like that, and tried to increase the body because I was so sick. I was so sick at that time that they should have found my body out in the woods, and then I should have been gone for these last 15, 20 years. I mean,
Yeah.
but I made it through. That's because I think when it's like the yellow dog that wanders off into the woods and lays on the oak bed and finds out that that's curing them. That's what I was like. I was like that yellow dog, which I accidentally stumbled into something that actually was good for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But most of the time when I came back into society to get food or, I was just a stumbling, mumbling idiot. And at that time, and I started stopping at libraries and doing the one more good thing is just stop. And it was warm inside of libraries and public places, so you can read. And that's what I did. And hey,
Yeah.
I came back from the worst.
Well, I want to get into Camus a lot more. I think he's another one too, like to rebel. He likes the idea of
Yeah.
rebelling.
Yeah, The Rebel is a very good book to read. I would read The
Uh,
Myth of Sisyphus first and then The Rebel,
okay.
because you can't understand The Rebel unless you read The Myth of Sisyphus and the idea which I pose, imagine yourself happy.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Right.
there's a whole
Right. Yeah.
there's a
And then
whole
the whole idea of what he was saying about if you keep searching for the meaning of life, you'll never be happy.
yeah.
It's like absurd, to even
Sisyphus found himself happy
yeah.
with the rock, and
Right.
no
Right.
matter what was happening, he found his purpose in that. And Camus, just imagine yourself happy, and that's where I
Yeah.
come up with tell it to a rock. You could talk to a
Yeah.
rock. That universe does not care what you say. Everything's absurd,
Well,
but the universe does not care.
yeah, that's a mistake I made. I look back now because I quit a really good paying job, and I look back and I can finally admit I made a mistake, because what I should have done is when they were because I had good sales numbers, but they
Yeah,
were not they wanted more. They wanted me to suffer more, right? So
yeah,
what I should have done in hindsight is worked less,
yeah,
saw the absurdity of what they were asking, and then you know let them assert, if they want to get rid of me or fire me or whatever, then fine, I'll just
right.
get unemployment. It's not,
Yeah,
I shouldn't have
yeah. You
I
shouldn't
shouldn't have
overreact.
absorbed all that stress. Yeah, I overreacted.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you
I take,
overreacted, and just
right,
imagine
right,
yourself happy. I think I was trying to get
right.
across
Imagine
to you.
yourself, right. The answer is to actually laugh at their
Yeah,
silly, what's the word I'm looking for? Laugh at their silly,
yeah.
assertions or whatever you want to call it,
Assertions
and
and
then
everything.
and then work less, cut corners more, and be more crafty, and then whatever they say. And I had a good advice 20 years ago when one of my landlords told me, hey, just in one ear out the other. And I
Right. Just
just,
in one ear out
and
the
that's the
other.
right way to do it. Yeah, that's how
Mhm.
you're supposed to approach it.
If you could
Yeah,
look at,
yeah.
I like the movie. What is that with the Green Mile when he's standing there by his window looking out and he recites the poem. Invictus. I think he was. Maybe it wasn't Invictus. Maybe it was the other one. But it was I am the captain. I am the master of my soul. And that one. And what he was doing is he said, "You can take everything, but I'm still free up here.
Yeah, yeah.
You can do anything you want, but I'm still free up here." And then that action went out that they eventually made themselves free.
Hmm.
and that's a good it's a good lesson, because these thoughts, these things that we do in MGTOW is like it may start with that little rebellion, and that's what Camus talks about, that little metaphysical rebellion. But that little metaphysical rebellion starts you on a path of freedom. And as little as it is, it will grow, and then that will influence everything. It was that will influence, that will bounce up against every atom in the universe around you.
Yeah, and that really, that's my advice to most to people now. Just tell your boss what he wants to hear, because they're absurd.
Yeah,
Bosses are absurd. The whole
yeah.
system is absurd.
You
So
could be
just tell them what they want to hear, and then if they're not being honest, or if they're not being treating you with respect, and you can't, you just look at it as the absurdity that it is,
yeah,
and
it
just
is
take their
absurd.
money. Just like these wise guys I used to play poker with, right?
Mm-hmm.
They used to always tell me, like, this one guy had like a bunch of hair salons, right? And he would just say, you know what, man? He goes, we just go in there and we joke around with the customers, we laugh, we have fun, and meanwhile we just take their money. It's like,
That's what it's about.
and that's all a job is. That's all
I
a
think
job
that's
is.
what Zato was
Don't take
saying
it so
too.
seriously. Yeah.
Before he left, he was like, he was driving people around, doing what was that, limousine service. He bought a limousine service, and he was like, hey, I don't care that they're getting married. I don't care. Matter of fact, I'm going to tap into that thing, he said, and I'm going to make some money off this thing. And he kept a good attitude about it.
Right.
That's what he did. He okay, if they're going to do these absurd things, I'm going to make some money off of it. I mean, if you're a ring salesman, don't be ashamed of that. You're just making money off of the stupidity of other people.
Right. Like that was the guy on John Candy on. He sold shower rings. Remember that movie? Remember that movie with Steve Martin? Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. He was like a shower ring salesman.
Yeah, and he had nowhere to go. That it came out that he was just living in this fantasy world on just moving around, and he never gave that his wife was passed or whatever, and he was just simping for that. And yeah. Now in life, sarcasm is one of the greatest. And you notice I do ultimate sarcasm once in a while. It's just pure 100% pure sarcasm, and that's because when I see the absurdity of these people, the only response could possibly be sarcasm, but they don't identify it because they're usually tards.
Right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, there's ways to react to these people where they I mean, their whole world,
because they're absurd. They're absurd.
Yeah,
that's a very important concept to understand in life.
Yeah,
it really is,
because they're looking at their measurements backwards, and they're measuring inward instead of outward, and your measurements from the inward should always start from your inward, like we say, the introspection from our inward, and then we measure outward so we get a true measurement.
Mm-hmm.
And they measure backwards. They are always criticizing that thing that they're objectifying.
Mm-hmm.
It's absurd. It's just it just drives me nuts. And when we have to deal with them, it'll make us sick. And that's what the sickness that I mean, it's almost like they're a virus sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, what kind of mask or protective what do they call that? Protective stuff that we have to wear around simps.
Yeah.
Can we get a lotion or something that drives?
They're painful. They're painful. They're like painful. The codependency, and the thing is, the age doesn't matter. They range. They range. Yeah, they range from whatever. 15 to 85, it's like
15 to 85. They simping hard.
They're simping just as hard to the day they die, And
yeah, that's they do that conservative bias where they might learn something, they might know of something, but they never apply it in their life. And like I say, the AP rule about knowing of something, just knowing of something don't mean you know about it. Mm-hmm. And they can often they do the same thing as women, and that's SFM's bitch brain. They impersonate women. They do and that's just mimicking. They're mimicking the men around them so they can get by, but with no true understanding of what freedom is, because they don't want freedom.
I had an interview, and the manager, I really liked him, and but the woman, she was a regional manager. She was his boss. I look up her resume. She's got like 2 or 3 years of sales experience. And I'm
Okay.
sitting here with 15 years of sales experience. And I'm like, there is no freaking way I'm working for this company. It's just no way. You couldn't pay me enough money.
Yeah,
Okay? How did she get that promotion? How did she get that
their
promotion?
opinion is she's going
Forget.
to
I
do
was
a better job because of that.
forget it. I was like, forget it. I said, you
That's,
know what? No, I'm not doing this.
yeah, you
I'm
can't
not
take a
doing
job like
this.
that because from the get-go, it's like, oh,
No,
I have to cut
no,
this
it's not
immediately.
absolute joke, and it's like yeah, it was just like forget it. I went in the interview and I was just giving them all these like off answers on purpose, like I did it on purpose, just I had fun with it, I was like being
Have
a
you
real
ever,
dick in the
you ever
interview, and
been
I was
in an
like, no,
interview
fuck
that
them, I'm not
yeah,
working for them, screw them.
I was
You
in this
promote her
interview
to
once.
regional? She's a regional manager?
Yeah, I was in this interview once, and I realized I didn't want to do it about 5 minutes into this, and this guy kept talking for like an hour, and I fell asleep. Right, I
Oh,
was like, I was like, oh, sorry.
yeah.
It was like I can't remember. It was a security job back when I was young, and
Yeah,
it was like they wanted me to do security for something, and
yeah,
I was like, oh man, it was just I'm not taking this. As soon as he started talking, I realized like I'm not taking this job, but
yeah,
I couldn't say it.
yeah. Yeah. Well, no, you're right though. We have to minimize those interactions. And actually, if you can
Right.
even get to the point where you have no interaction,
No.
you really want a life of no interactions with sex.
Yeah, there will
Once
be
you
no
determine,
anomalies.
don't
Then
bother. Yeah, you're not gonna have. Right, you're gonna take their stress. How'd you put it? They're gonna influence you. They're gonna
right,
influence you.
yeah,
You
you're their
yeah.
emotional tampon, and you're gonna
Right,
soak up
emotional
all
tampon.
that stress.
Right, that's right. That's right. They
And
don't bring any value to your life. They do the opposite. They bring stress.
they
Yeah,
bring stress, right? Yeah, they're
right.
bouncing up. The molecules are fucking shifting around them. They're bouncing off of everything. They're making bad decisions. They're 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 going every single way but the way they should be going, and that should be very slow, very intent, and very natural. It should be a flow to it. And who's the guy
Yeah.
that did the flow thing? That bothered me. It's like
Oh yeah.
you got
That
this
guy
so
that
wrong.
flow state, the guy on BitChute or
Yeah,
BitChute, I
they
think.
took that from Western esoterical, or not Western, Eastern esotericalism with Hinduism, and there is a flow, but it wasn't described by it was described by Shante Diva, but it's not what it was described as. It was more getting in touch with how things really work in nature, and then going with that flow.
Well, I think his main point was you just haven't found the right one. You have to.
Yeah,
I,
he thinks that is. He
I
thinks
think that's
living
what he
with a
said.
girl is
That might have been
natural.
somebody.
So,
Yeah, that might have been somebody else, but that said that. But yeah, or maybe it's him. Yeah, but that's pretty much what they said. Like they pretty much their message is more man up. You haven't found the right one yet. You
yes,
haven't
if
found the right one.
you can suffer enough, and you can just if you can find one that you can suffer enough with
Yeah.
that the suffering isn't over suffering. It's like then that's the one. No, that is not. That is the farthest thing from flow state is can be. And I think Shante
Yeah.
Diva would roll over in his grave if he ever heard some of these guys talk.
Yeah. Oh man, it's a mess, man. That's why I'm glad we came on today, because
Yeah.
to expose these idiots. And I know we're definitely helping at least a few men that are smart enough to listen to this. I mean,
Yeah, I was so mad this morning. It was just like, and it was like it was one of those I told you so moments, and you're not listening to me. And I've made offers to my friend, and it's like to get him back healthy again. And then he's one of those guys that know what you're going to give me isn't good enough, and I'll go buy myself and then he never buys that thing that if you gave him a BMW, he'd want a Jaguar.
yeah.
And a BMW would be like, oh man. So the bikes I build aren't good enough.
Well, Yeah. It's like my buddy in San Diego. The guy's, it's a very wealthy guy, and he's like got beautiful. I mean, you see this house he's got. It's just freaking amazing. It's like he's like a mile from the beach. He's got like 2,500 square foot. He's got a beautiful house, and he's complaining about the women, like, oh, these women I'm dating are not really that great, and I'm like, oh goodness. I'm like, come on, man. It's like,
Yeah, why are you interacting with?
yeah. Why do you
Why are you
care? It's like,
interacting with the thing you're complaining about? That I guess that's what this is about.
yeah.
You're,
He's trying to find the
you're
unicorn.
interacting with.
He's trying to find the unicorn. That's pretty much
Yeah,
what it is.
and it's so ludicrous, and it's not that hard to find. We both know that we were both young, and so it's not that hard.
Yeah.
It just it shouldn't be that hard. You're making it harder than it is, and then whatever these ideas of that perfect unicorn they drew up in their head, that person will never exist in this world.
No, they can't separate fantasy from fiction. And I think
That's fantasy fiction boobies. Them boobies you drew up in your head. There would never be a set of those boobies out there.
yeah. It's like we talk about. I mean, I talk like the meat. It's like watching like a movie or a TV show, and you think it's real. Yeah, it's like. Remember your mother was saying like she watched a crime show and she thought she looked outside her window.
Oh God, that was so awful for her. I had to stop her from doing that because she's looking out outside the window thinking there's rapists everywhere. That was CSI. What was the CSI one when every girl gets raped?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean,
this is so stressful. Can't we just? I ordered cable for her, and I like tried to turn her on to some of the other things that were going on, and she was like, "It's like, please don't watch this because like if you're watching Fox News and you're watching CSI, that shit's gonna kill you. You're gonna think all sorts of things.
They can't separate. Like I'm in California now. It's like 99.99% of the people here are the nicest people you're ever going to meet. It's like, and like with the media, it'll tell you, oh, California's crazy. They're a bunch of wackos and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
No, I'm here. I'm actually here, and I'm
here, and I'm
with a bunch of right. But I'm staying with an Asian family here. They're the nicest people in the world, and it's like I got a Mexican guy who just fixed my car, nicest guy in the world, and it's like here I am, a Caucasian guy. They treat me with all respect and love, and it's like. It's like, but no, the media is always saying like, "Oh,
that's not the narrative.
They're a bunch of liberal they're a bunch of liberal crazy people." It's like no, they're not. It's like I'm here.
People that want to cooperate, make their. We say it all the time. Just cooperate. Make this area a better place. Man, I live in one of the worst areas in the world, but you ever see me not smiling? I try to make it better.
That's right. Well, it's like like on customer service, I try to like they say, "Oh, how you doing?" I say, "How you doing? How you doing today?" And they're like shocked. They're shocked. They go, "What'd you say?"
What'd you say?
Because most people when they call, they're like upset about something. Which, okay, that's why you're gonna call. Usually, something screwed up, whatever. And I mean, I'm not perfect, okay, and I've had to call back a couple times and apologize because I've caught myself being, But I call back and apologize. I'm getting better at not doing any of that stuff. But I lead off and I say that and I say those things like at the grocery store. Yeah, thanks for being like I did your move the other day. Like I went to Carl's Jr. because I was really hungry. I was playing poker all night. It was like 3, 4 in the morning, and there was no place open because of COVID. But Carl's Jr. is open. There's like one restaurant. I looked it up and I drove in. I told the guy, "Hey, thanks a lot, man, for being here." I said, I'm starving. I got nowhere else to go. And
thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot for great dinner. I mean, you can be thankful for those things and grateful to people. That pays dividends. It's not for them. Who's it for?
And they got great chicken sandwich. Carl's Jr. Don't get the hamburgers. Get the chicken sandwiches. Great chicken sandwiches.
Yeah, Carl's Jr. is Sonic. Sonic's about that same thing.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay.
Sonic, and I always get the chicken sandwiches. Or my son used to work for Sonic and he used to give me a chicken sandwich, the big ones with the hot stuff on top of it.
Okay, Well, they put a lot of mayo on there, so that's why I like it too. They load up on the mayo. So that's good.
He used to have the girl run it out to me, and the girl on skates, and she looked just like Wendy, And I was like, isn't that weird looking? A girl that looks just like Wendy
Oh,
working
she
at
had freckles and freckles and red hair.
she looked just like her.
She had her hair in a ponytail.
Yeah, her hair was in a pony. I think she did it
Yeah.
on purpose, and she put the freckles on. And then Dave's my son says, I shouldn't mention his name. He says, I think she does it on purpose just to look like that. I was like, that is so weird.
It's funny though. It's good.
But it's funny and it's entertaining, and I'm getting a free sandwich. There ain't nothing to complain about in that.
No, and I think it ties back to like what Camus was saying. Imagine yourself happy. It's like,
Imagine yourself happy. Even some days are just awful, but it's going to be up to you. And it goes back to, man, if someone cuts you off and they go that way, you go that way, and 15 minutes later you're still yelling at them, you're only hurting yourself.
That's right. You're cutting your life short.
You're cutting your life short. That stress is, you better start asking some questions about why that stress is in there.
Right. It's introspection and thinking and you know, and then like, you know, getting back to the religious thing, they want to make you feel, it's almost like they want you to feel like you should, they don't want you to be happy. They want you to always feel shameful and guilty and whatever.
A shameful, guilty slave is the best slave.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, sir. He keeps his head down. He's, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll do anything you say, sir. I'm the best slave.
But you trick the trickster. You trick the trickster, and you do like a reverse thing on them. You know, like then that's what it took me like all, because I knew when I left that job, okay, I was making pretty good money. You know, it was a 6-figure plus job, and you know, company car and everything. It's like, and I was just so, I was too. You know what it was? I was too sensitive. Even as I'm not really like, I've overcome that like kind of codependency bullshit, but like even now, I realize now I was too sensitive in that situation. What I should have done is trick the trickster and just said, "Oh, look at this absurdity," and just laugh it off. Just laugh it off. Boss called you with some stupid questions. Just laugh it off. Just laugh it off. Tell them what they want to hear and just laugh it off. That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah,
your time bomb will come obvious, and then look for your exit. And it'll be obvious when you drop your time bomb or leave your time bomb and leave, and then wait for them to call you back.
Right. The exit strategy should have been better. Look for another job. Okay, that's a good exit strategy. Or you know, if they decide to fire you for something stupid, okay, well that's fine. You can fight back later and get unemployment or whatever, and they'll hold you over for 6 months. You know, there's a lot of options you have. You have a lot of options. You know, but I was just as stubborn. You know, whatever, and you know, you're not going to talk to me that way, and blah blah blah. But I only end up hurting myself. That's
the thing that always gets to me. It's the how you talk to me thing, and I lay that right out. It's like, you don't talk to me like that, and what do I look like to you? What do you see when you look at me? What do you observe when you look at me?
Right. It's a great way to say it, Joe.
What's that?
Good for you. Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
I mean, that's the thing that always gets me. It's like the story about like my brother used to run in the room with a Hot Wheel track and just smash me in the face. Then he'd drop the Hot Wheel track and I'd pick it up and he'd run up to my mom and he'd go, "Look, Joey's hitting me with the Hot Wheel track." So he got baited, and I always fall for that bait.
Those conversations don't happen enough in corporate America, and they really need to, because these guys, you know, all these simps that are in leadership positions, they you know, they get in those positions by simping, you know. So I think as a MGTOW, I think you're right. I think that's a good way to approach it. I mean, you're gonna piss them off, and they might try to sabotage you, get you fired. But you know, if you're fired for a reason that's not, you can prove they have to have a reason. Yeah, you can prove it, and you can sue them if there's something.
Yeah, if they fire you, then they probably owe you a severance at that point.
Right, and you get unemployment, and they're gonna get investigated and all this stuff. So just hold your ground. But that's a fair thing to say to them. Is, who do you think? Like you don't talk to me that way. It doesn't matter if you're my quote unquote boss or whatever. Yeah, you know, that's not a good term anyway. You're my manager. You're not my boss. Manager is a better word, right? You're not a boss.
Yeah,
nobody's boss over anybody.
And man, I would have recorded every one of those bad phone calls you were getting, and the absurdity of them, and like it's like every time he insulted you, and it's like, okay, we'll just play this out, let it play out. I gotta get a plan, you know, do the MGTOW thing, take an action. That action in your head is a positive action to try to start something, a rebellion. You rebel, you put things in action, things start changing around you, and eventually you work your way out of there. it's more of a natural flow to things.
Right. Right. Not being so impulsive. And,
Not being
but
so
that's the thing.
impulsive.
That's the thing. Well, that's the thing we do in MGTOW. It's like I've been in this thing for what? I don't know, 10 years.
Yeah.
It's like even, even and it's like I don't have all the answers. But I keep introspecting and thinking about things I need to get better at, like impulse control and
Yeah, it's important.
all
Even
this
at
stuff.
my age, I do the interest of what did I do wrong on that? How did that fail? Or what was a better action? And and then maybe next time that'll serve me better.
Right. Right. Yeah, never sabotage. And I was thinking like yesterday, like you have to be your best friend. That's one of the
Yeah.
thoughts I came up because that's one of the things I came like last night. I was meditating on that. You have to be your best friend.
You have
Get
to
back
be your own best friend. That's
right. Get back to that.
one.
That's right. That's right. Get back to that. That's not being selfish. That's just you're looking out for your own self
Right.
preservation.
Right. I can't help anybody unless I'm healthy and being financially fit and healthy and physically healthy is important. I mean, I'm not as physically healthy. There's no way after a lifetime of being beat up in an industry that I could be, but if I would have known that, if some of these young guys realized that earlier, it's like, don't lay it all on a line for them. Don't do those things that you may be injured when you're older. And that'll lead to happiness that multiplies happiness down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Well, you live longer, you're healthier.
Yeah, live long, healthy, live long and prosper.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They had it right. Star Trek had it right. What's his name? Who's that guy?
Spock. Yeah,
Kirk.
Leonard Nimoy and Spock.
The no-win. He didn't believe in the no-win scenario. Yeah, that's why he did the Kobayashi Maru, whatever the test. What was that Kobayashi Maru?
I like the end of that
test.
one when him and Kirk.
Yeah.
Him and himself are sitting there talking to it, and he goes, "I would say my live long and prosper, but that would be obvious."
Oh, he said that?
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
He was great because he doesn't like to lose. He was talking about not liking to lose, and that scene with Kirstie Alley. It's a classic scene in that movie, The Wrath of Khan. I think it was.
Yeah.
He goes. He was the only guy to ever beat the no-win scenario. He's the only guy to ever beat the no-win scenario because he changed the simulation of the test.
Yeah,
it's kind of like and then he tells Kirstie Alley, he like bites the apple, which is symbolic of the stupid Bible, like with biting the apple. But whatever, that's whatever. But like he goes, it's like knowledge thing, right? Like you bite the apple, and it's like. And he goes, I don't believe in no win scenario. I don't like to lose, and so it's like that's kind of like MGTOW because we don't like to lose, and we don't believe, and I think that's a good way to approach life is to change the simulation. You change the rules. You change the rules of the game.
Right. In the blow bar there, I said to be fearless in subverting the world's bad ideas and search for more efficient ones. You should be fearless in that, like James Kirk was. He was fearless, and he looked for a more efficient where you can win.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
And they will try. They're going to try every time to bring you back to that old way of thinking. And that's
right. And then go ahead, finish your point. I want
that old way of thinking is flawed, but that's what they do. They do the same thing you're doing, but in an opposite direction, and they're just them same bad ideas are coming back, and their truth is to re-subvert the truth.
Right. Their answer to me. Now I had double-digit growth quarter to quarter for a product that is not well liked. Right. That's really good. 50+% increase in sales year to year for a product nobody liked.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm successful. I'm successful. Now I got this resume. I work for some big companies. I got this resume that's pretty damn good. Multiple awards, leadership stuff, results, whatever. Right. I got advanced degree. I'm working on my second one. I got a lot of shit going on. Right. So now they're coming at me, and their message to me was, "You need to suffer more. You're not doing enough." So I find out the other sales reps because I'm trying to figure out how these other sales reps are ahead of me. So I'm trying to do what they're doing. but then I find out that they're pretty much doing unethical stuff, right? So
Right.
I flip out. I get really upset. Call an attorney. Blah blah blah. Whatever. So the point is, like, they're coming at me with this absurd thing about suffering more. Like, you need to do more. You need to suffer more. But then I find out it's unethical stuff going on. But the way I should have approached it was, well, yeah, that's the traditional thing, is you have to suffer more, right? But
That's how
that's
they
not
get
correct.
you.
What I should have done is seen the absurdity of it and I should have done the opposite and just cut the corners more and work less.
Right. They're self-serving then, and that's how their things are going up. But there's always measures that they put in place to it's for deniability. And
Right, because I was in a no-win. So in other words, it goes back to the Captain Kirk. I was in a no-win scenario, like the way they want. If I approach things in the traditional way that they wanted me to,
right.
that I needed to suffer more. Well, that's a no-win scenario, because it doesn't matter how hard. I've been doing this for 20 years. I already played out I know every single angle on how to grow a territory. There's no stone uncovered. So there's no way. Like, what they're asking me to do is absurd. To suffer more. To
Right.
do more. I've already done everything. I've demonstrated results, but they wanted more results. So the way to approach it would have been just to say, you know what, this is absurd. I'm going to imagine myself happy in the situation I'm in, right? Like, tie these good ideas that Camus comes up, all these great thinkers come up with. Use their ideas, incorporate them into my situation, and then just say, okay, I'm just going to deal with their absurdity and have fun with it. And just have fun with it, and then if they want to part ways, and that's on them, and it's not me initiating anything and saying, oh, screw this and blah blah blah. I sabotage myself. Like, come up with a scenario where I can win. In other words, right? That's what I'm trying to say, and that's where, for me, that's what MGTOW is you're developing a scenario where you can win in life, right? So.
Right. Or at least a philosophy that tends to win more than lose.
Yeah.
We live in a hostile planet that wants to kill us. We live in a hostile universe that wants to kill us. We got to accept that as the truth and try to make the best way you see it is, how can I win in this thing? How can I reduce my pain to minimal?
Yes. That's right. Right. It's not like that Steve Harvey. That clip really pissed me off because I'm looking. Did you see the clip or no? It was like 30 seconds. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see it?
I think I may have seen it. It's probably
okay. Cool. I go on YouTube sometimes, and they got these silly, like, 30-second videos, and they're so 95% of them are stupid.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, they just got all these stupid videos, like people just doing stupid dance moves and just like being retarded, and that's a culture that we have now, and it's just really, we have a dumbed down culture.
That's that destructive positivism I talked about. They're just destructively positive,
Yeah. But Steve Harvey talked about how, oh, you need to you're sleeping 8 hours or so, it's too much, and even Floyd Mayweather even had a video where he's talking about how, breaking down time and this and that, and how, you need, but pretty much at the end of the day, their base message is you need to suffer more, relax less, and it's like that. To me, that doesn't sound like a good life. I mean, listen, I'm all for, like, having a good work ethic. You don't want to be like too lazy, but that's not really being lazy. When you're relaxing and resting your body,
you want to work smart, not hard.
Right. You're having time to introspect, to listen to good content when you find it, like some of like reading good books, like that's a better life. It's not running around and being working like a dog for other people. Even if you have your own business, it's still not good because it's not healthy. Like what happened with your friend? Well,
right. Yeah, you got to plan for the future too. There's a plan in this thing. I seen that. Like, man, I'm getting older, and if I don't start doing something to negate the risk, I was going to end up in horrible shape, and I was in horrible shape. I had really no options at that point to do it, but I did it for. My first bike was just a simple pedal bike, and I pedaled that fucking thing. It's hard.
There's businesses out there where they have mobile
guys that do mobile bike repairs and stuff. That's actually out there. West Coast, there's a lot of that going out there.
Yeah.
Like they go, yeah, this guy has a business because my friend's getting his bike fixed, and he's like, oh, the mobile repair guy is coming. I'm like, what? Mobile repair? Yeah, it's like he fixes bikes. He's like, he drives around the city and fixes bikes like at people's houses, like as a it's a convenience thing,
Yeah.
So they don't have to bring the bike in the shop, whatever, right?
Oh, in LA, that's probably great because you ride a bike all year round, and
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, then maybe I could do that with that van. I got the van sitting on the driveway.
Well, I think it's creativity. It goes back to a lot of creativity, but I think the best way, like, is just minimizing. Like you said, you just need a room. Like if you're a MGTOW, you just need a room.
Yeah,
right?
You don't need you don't need a nest.
That's one of your highest viewed videos is Man Cave, I think.
The Man Cave, yeah. You need a garage and a room, somewhere to work and somewhere to so you can sleep in the garage too.
Yeah.
Or a room off the garage, even if it's small. All you need is a cot. I mean, coffee maker, a fry pan. What else do you need? And you walk out in the morning, and there's your stuff.
Yeah. You need a good toilet seat.
A good toilet seat, yeah.
Just to relax.
Yeah, hose the hose off your.
Yeah.
You need a hose off the strippers.
Oh man.
Oh God.
Oh, I had a stripper story. My buddy was telling me yesterday. he was out in Vegas, and this is this goes back to like harm reduction and being around simps.
Yeah.
And he's like a half simp, right? I call this guy like a half a simp, but the other guy's like, probably full simp. So the full simp guy, so he gets a comp for this room, and the full simp guy, he brings two strippers back to the room.
Yeah.
And the half simp guy, he gets like a personal, I won't say what it is, but a personal item that's worth a few $1,000 stolen from him, right? Because he wasn't interested. He wasn't interested in doing anything with these two strippers. So these two strippers leave, but in the meanwhile, they steal this guy's thing.
They steal stuff. That's what strippers
Now
do.
he was asking me, what do you think? He known this guy about 20 years. He go, what do you think that the simp should have done? Like, I said, well, I think he should have paid half of your. I would have probably paid me being who I am. I would never been in that situation bringing strippers over. I would say he should pay. I would have paid the whole thing for the right because it's his fault. It's his fault that he brought him there in the room. But the simp was saying, oh no, it's not my fault. You should have protected your your thing, your item. I just said what it was, but he said you should have protected that and locked it away. What do you think? I'm asking you because you're a lot smarter than probably everybody.
He should have probably left with his item and carried it
around.
Put it.
Yeah. What do you think? But what do you think the simp that brought the strippers in? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he caused the incident.
He caused the incident. The simp caused the incident. So do you think he should have compensated that guy?
I think he owes him something. Or, he should try to help him replace that.
Sure.
Yeah.
At least half, right? At least worst case scenario, pay half.
Right. Yeah.
He said nothing. The simp said no. He said, no, man, I'm not covering anything. And this is after he.
And I had an experience with this. There was a guy up at the convenience store. He come up and he says, "Hey man, I'm from southern Ohio or something, and I was up in Youngstown, and I was with this girl, and she stole my wallet, and I was curious at that point, and I was like, and then it became clear that he was with a stripper, and she stole his wallet, and he didn't have no way to get home, but his problem was he thought the stripper liked him. He thought the stripper was his date. He thought the stripper was his girlfriend. And this is so common with girls. Like, they don't have no sympathy for you. They don't have no empathy. They don't have those things. And he's stuck in Lorain, Ohio, begging for money on a corner so he can get back home. And I was just like, that's the basic simp. He thought the stripper was his girlfriend.
Yeah, it's sad, but hopefully he learned something from it. And that's the thing. It's like he probably didn't even learn from it.
He's probably going to do it again.
Right, he's going to do it again. Right.
He might hide his wallet better next time. I mean,
It,
he put it in a drawer and lock it.
it's incredible to me that in my life, simps, male simp friends, they've caused more damage to me than women because I kind of had that instinct that there's something wrong with women. There's something wrong with them. Like I just kind of knew, so I never really got screwed that bad. I was in maybe two long-term relationships for about a year
Yeah.
when I was like 19, and then when I was like 25, and then that was it. That was like 20 years ago, So never really got screwed with women. I got lucky, but a lot of sim friends, the guys I did maybe some business with or whatever, like they always seem to always try to take advantage.
Yeah.
So I learned from that. So
I got a buddy that made national news because he thought the girl stripper was his girlfriend. And I won't tell what happened because
yeah.
he made national news. It was on fucking Google and
Oh,
TV8
okay.
and everything. His stupidity led to.
Youngstown guy. The Youngstown guy.
No, he was from the Heights areas of
Yeah.
Cleveland, and
A
it
lot
was
of
like,
Italians out there, right? A lot of Italians in
yeah,
Cleveland.
he just got wound up in some bad things, and then it just rolled from there, and he made national news. It was like, oh God, he lost
It's
his job, and
yeah. It's funny. I'm listening to like these ex mobsters because now they're like, because it's not as good of a thing as it used to be because now you got all these guys doing YouTube channels and they're a bunch of clowns. They're good guys. I mean, I like them, but they're just clowns. It's like, but one guy's like, we did this, we did that. I know I used to get a lot of girls, and I'm like, what the hell's that got to do with anything? It's like it just shows you their mentality of how they're just doing it, and they'll do anything for the ladies.
yeah, yeah. If you ever get a stripper, it says she enters, she's half dressed, naked, and when she leaves, she's half dressed, and you pay her at the door and make sure everything's in your wallet.
Well, my move when I was at strip club was okay. You have to sometimes because I used to go when I was younger. I have to bring a fake ID if I don't
Yeah,
so you have to have some identification. We usually ask for it, and then I just bring cash, like, usually, $40 or $80 or less than $100, and then that was it. So if I was gonna get robbed, it was only for. And I did the same thing when I was in New Orleans. I'd go out with like less than $100, $100 or less, and
yeah.
then my ID. And that was it. So I wasn't going out with my wallet and all credit cards. And I said, no, there's no way. There's no way I was going to do that.
Yeah, I used to drive my friends nuts. So when we go out, I would it was $40 in my pocket and my ID. That was it.
Right.
And
And I didn't even like bringing the ID.
yeah, the ID was even I had to worry about something. It's like,
Right. Right.
and when I ran out of that $40 of drinks, I bring just enough for drinks for me. I'm not buying those super price $8 drinks for another person. That's that
No.
I just happen to know where is just Coca-Cola inside of a bottle.
Well, you came up with that paying for someone. Was that you or SFM? Like
Hey,
paying for someone?
no, I was the inventor of paying for someone else's
That's
bitch.
that is so true. That's a chapter in the MGTOW book. Is paying for someone else's bitch. That's the title of one of the
That
chapters.
happens a lot when you
It happens all the time.
it
All the
happens
time.
at work. It happens with your friends. It happens with people that he'll bring a girl over, and all of a sudden there's an expenditure to that, and he thinks that in his simp world that you owe him something for bringing that in your house, and you just want it out of your house. And that's what happened with your friend. He brought he owed him something for bringing these two strippers around. Entertainment. It's like the simp thinks he owes him something for that, and if something bad, no, he owes for getting his stuff stolen now.
Well,
But
and
you
what's
gotta
worse,
remove
he won. This is how the simp thinks too. It's like he won like money. He won money that night to cover the cost of that stolen item and extra, and he still wouldn't give in.
he still
Like he
wouldn't
still
pay for
wouldn't
his
give in.
debt. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's you're paying for somebody else's B then.
right. And my buddy was like, he was kind of upset about it. I said, hey, I go, I think, because I thought about it for a second. Well, it's the worst case scenario. He should give you half of the money, like for what it's worth, what the item was worth. The
Yeah,
worst case scenario. Yeah, but like you said, that's how they think differently. It's what it is. They just think differently.
yeah, no, and if you one of those guys where you just let things go. No good deed goes unpunished. And I found that out so many times in my life.
Yeah.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Explain that to me again, because I've heard that's the second time I've heard that, like recently. Like, explain that to me again, because I sometimes I don't know why I get confused with that saying.
Yeah, usually the philosophy of no good deed, you're just going along with things and you're just being a good guy. And we know what happens to good guys. And you usually
You're
have
gonna
to,
suffer. You're gonna
they're
suffer
going to
then.
suffer. And there's going to be expected suffering and cost.
So no good deed goes unpunished means when you do good things for other people, they're gonna eventually you're gonna get.
Right. Yeah. When you're too altruistic, altruism is, I did the video on over altruism. You're just going to make yourself broke. Socrates supposedly went broke dropping coins in Rome, seeing if someone would say, "Hey, mister, you dropped your coin." But there was no honest man in Rome.
Wow. No good deed goes unpunished. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you don't hear a lot of thank yous. The guys that fix my car. So my hood, and this is I got a good old car, man. Man, what a great car. And because I didn't even care that the car was old. I bought it from I wasn't buying the car. I was buying it. It was the guy that was selling the car.
Yeah.
Like his integrity, right? Because the guy lived across the street from me, and so I'm like, this guy's the man. It's like I trust this guy as much as anybody. So I know I'm getting a good car. I really didn't care that it was 20 years old, but the car was great, runs great, it's a good car. So I was so happy today because I had a problem with the hood. I went to a couple places out in Vegas, they couldn't fix it. So now I go to LA, I go to this buffet, and sure enough, there's a freaking mechanic there. So I said, what the hell? Let me see what he got, Mexican guy. And dude, I was so happy. Now I know. Listen, I'm not stupid. I know what it should have cost me and what he charged me.
Yeah.
But I was so happy. It's hot out, whatever. These guys were. I shook everyone, all three of their hands. I said, really appreciate everything. It's like, but you. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. I'm just saying it because you don't like. I think they were like shocked. That here's a guy. He just paid us probably double than what he should have. Okay, yeah. But he's still shaking our hands and showing us respect because I really did appreciate this getting done, because I might want to take a trip out to Denver, next week. I might want to do some other things. I haven't been out to Pacific Northwest. I might drive up there, so I need a car. I need to be able to open the hood. You know what I mean? So in case something car overheats, whatever, I got to throw some water in the coolant system, whatever. I got to do something. You know what I mean? You need a hood. Yeah. You need to get the hood open. Yeah. So I was really it took a lot of stress off me. I was really thankful. But my point I'm trying to make is how I think they were shocked that I was that thankful, and I shook all their hands, and
yeah. You got your feelers out there too. You probably need to drive around and
yeah, it's fun, man. I'm having a lot of fun right now. I'm doing MGTOW thing, just driving around, and I think Airbnb is great, because I'm driving the post office crazy because I keep changing my address, but all over the place. But who cares about that? I don't give a shit about that, because most stuff's online. But I think I might head up to Seattle, and we'll see. I don't know yet. Maybe stop in and see JK. I got to drop him off some stuff.
Okay.
He's out in Northern California, so yeah. I got to see about that thing, JK. Remember that thing we talked about? So, but yeah, have you been up the Pacific Northwest at all, or ever?
No, I've never been up in the Pacific Northwest. And it's one of the things I'd like to do, but time is short.
Well, I hear Seattle is boy, that's probably one of the few major. I've been to almost every major city in the United States, but that's one of the few I haven't been to, and I just hear that it's incredible. I hear Seattle's just like the green, very green, and it's beautiful. But yeah, I mean, just having that thankful attitude is, I think, that we had that in
everything, and it's for you. It's not for everybody else. It's just to keep yourself in that moment where you're just you're not down and you're happy, and you just imagine yourself happy, like I say, and keep it going. And I mean, people do it all the time when every time in the morning when you're going to get your coffee, someone next to you will say, "How you doing, buddy?" Your natural response is always, "I'm doing great. How are you?" You don't want to tell them the truth. It's like, today sucks,
Yeah.
But, you just, hey, you try to make it a little brighter. It's for you. It's not for everybody else.
And I think it's important to recognize those days that you're not maybe feeling great
Right.
about things, and just recognize it, and then try
Recognize.
to calm down. Yeah, try to calm down, like you said, like last, I think one of your last podcasts.
Take that
Let stuff roll off.
introspection.
Let stuff roll off your back. I mean, if you're like, that's the way you want to, direction you want to be, is let stuff roll off your back.
Right. Sometimes the difference between good moments in life and really bad moments is the moment you reflect on it. Just that second you reflect and say, man, let's just take a deep breath, walk away, say something nice, and just, just not do the stupid thing.
Yeah. Because that's just part of
Which
life.
I always kind of got a problem with. Sometimes I just jump.
Yeah, me too. Well, it's good that you recognize it. See, some people don't even.
Oh yeah, that will tell you about yourself. What is your what your impulses are, and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not as young as I used to, so I can't jump. It's like this is funny. It's like, look at this old man. He's
Yeah. Well, and a lot of these younger guys, they don't have role models, I think, and they're getting information from bad sources, and guys like Steve Harvey. I mean, and Juliette Lewis, like
yeah, Juliette Lewis and Allison Mack and Claire's gang.
I mean, Juliette Lewis, yeah. Oh,
what
man.
was the Dyke gang and what the Warriors?
Oh yeah, the ones that were throwing knives and shit.
Yeah, they're throwing knives. These girls got knives, and just that's Claire's gang.
Yeah, Claire was she started it. Yeah, she's
I think the one girl was named Claire too, which I just thought was hilarious.
Oh, it was, yeah. Yeah.
It's funny when the worlds line up like that, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's just, it gives me encouragement when you read things like Camus and Schopenhauer, and there's so many other great thinkers that they were they gave us the information, and it's like, man, no, that's been around.
Yeah, it's all there for you if you want to sharpen your skills. Do Winninger or Wittgenstein. You want to sharpen any your logic skills. You could do George Bowles logic or Boolean logic, and there's always these there's tons of information. You want to look deep into your existential situations. There's Nietzsche and there's Sartre and there's Camus and there's all these great influences in your life. Don't take advice from the bartender. There's guys that go back to the 1700s that were or even Plato and Socrates and you can get information. You can just look it up and read. And these guys were, they're great thinkers, and they can give you the answers to a lot of things in life. Most of my time when I was a simp, I was taking bad advice from the bartender, and his advice was have another drink. Drinks and bitches.
You haven't found the right one yet.
Yeah, you haven't found the right one. Just keep drinks and bitches, and that's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
That's always their advice. That's their advice for everything.
Yeah, or you need to make more money, or you need to, whatever. Yeah.
If you just made more money, you would make the girls happy.
Yeah. Your life
you happy. They'll make you happy.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. Oh, geez, that is such simp thinking.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just go to the park tomorrow. How's that sound? And just kind of vegetate in the park and look at nature and try to figure out the real meaning of life. That would be better.
Well, I'll tell you, I miss getting in. That's the one thing about Southern California. I goto find the parks, and it's just
you got to find a little park with the bike. They got a lot of bike paths and everything there, don't they? And
there's
but they're mostly inner city or suburban.
Yeah, it's mostly just people riding their bikes on the streets, and it's not the same when you're in nature and you see you're by a lake and you see the wildlife around turtles and all that kind of stuff. It's like Try to
Cliff
that.
wants to join. I think I'll let him in today, huh? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Let me paste.
As long as does he have the,
Oh,
he's gotta have the Sarah Jessica Parker name. She's Sarah Jessica Parker is like a horse.
where's the link at? I gave him the wrong link. I gave him the link to the YouTube.
It's on Hangouts. It's on Hangouts, right? Just cut and paste on Hangouts.
Yeah, I just gave him the wrong link. It was like, damn, Joe, are you?
Want me to see if I can cut and paste it on the chat or no?
Yeah, I was gonna copy and paste.
Let me get on there. I gotta get on it. I'm laying
What's
down.
that?
I was laying down. Let me go on the computer. I'm on my phone.
Oh, you're on your phone. You're gonna run out of minutes.
No, I have unlimited.
You're gonna run out of.
Yeah,
okay.
no, I have a no. It's got this. I have a good phone. Yeah.
Okay. Yep, he's in now. I'm gonna add him to.
Okay, there he is.
There he is. Hey, Black Wolf. I gave you the wrong link. I was like, I gave you the link to YouTube.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm doing great.
What you doing on your Friday night? Relaxing?
Yeah, just kicking back, relaxing, done working outside. So all I'm doing is just getting ready to enjoy the weekend. I was listening to you earlier talking about the bar advice, and I'm a victim of that too. I used to listen to the wrong people to get advice, and
Yeah.
now I
You
make
can
it.
get bad advice anywhere.
Yeah, I kept listening to the wrong people, like PUAs and bartenders at the bar I went through, and now I make a joke about it. And of course, my god kid hates this. He hates that I won't give him a straight answer. He's like, "Why don't you give me a straight answer?" I was like, "Well, because I'm going to give you the options of what can happen, but I want you to make your own decision on it too. That way, you don't come back pissed off at me, and then I'm going to have to go through your wrath and everything else." And so he's like, "Well, I just want the answer though." I said, fine. Next time you have a problem, I'll give you a straight answer. Comes back to me with a problem next week. I took a drink, shot it back. It's okay. Just rub some pussy on it. Put some pussy on it.
Yeah, that's always their answer for everything. Rub some veg on there. Is your pop filter? You got a pop filter, or you got your thing too close to your mouth?
Oh, I got the fan on.
Oh, it's because I hear some wind sound or pop filter sound.
I can turn it off. I turned it off. It's all.
Yeah, or you're too close to it, or something. Something's boom, 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 doing that thing.
Yeah, it's like it's going full speed because it's hot as hell here.
Okay, yeah, it is. It's cold here today. I couldn't believe it. It dropped like we're going through like the cold after a real hot day.
Yeah, I wish I lived in a place where it freaking rained. That's why I'm working on moving to a more colder place because I don't do well in the heat.
Yeah, it rains all the time here.
The cold I can deal with.
Yeah. So yeah, we were talking. What was the actual topic? Oh, no interactions, no properties. that's a quantum quantum math thing. If the atom doesn't interact, it will have no properties. And that's true in life. We find with quantum physics that we can apply quantum physics to most anything in life. If you don't interact with something, there will be no properties, and those properties might be pain, suffering. It might be like there's a lot of different properties.
That's why it helps to just take a stoic approach to things. I mean, the older I get, I'm learning to just take a back step and just let things play out. And sometimes
yeah, we were just talking about that. Just let things develop so you know how to deal with them. And a lot of times we rush in, and just MGTOW gives you that split second where you can let things develop and make a better decision.
Yeah, that's what's pretty funny about it. I mean, old me, and I think this is just in us as men to do this. We see a fire, we'll rush to get the fire extinguisher and go push it up, like put it out and everything. And nowadays, I just let the fire start, and then I decide whether I want to put it out or not. Is it even worth me putting it out? And man, just let it simmer for a bit and see what other people do before I do anything.
Yeah, simple logic is run into the fire because there's some veg that needs to be rescued.
Yeah, I'm telling everybody right now, if you want to make billions the rest of your life, just create a lotion or a special type of healing spray or liquid and just call it,
Oh,
like vag oil or something, or pussy be gone.
I
Just rub
was
some pussy on it.
I almost did a deal. I think I talked to Joey about 2 years ago. I was looking and there was this new thing that was coming through Albania, and they were giving away. You had to buy like 30,000 products or something. But I was looking at the price, and it was just that. It was a veg reconstructive oil, and it's like this will make your almost brand new down there. And it's like, man, I should just get in on the end of that. And actually, the product did really well, and then the company sold. So if I would have bought in, I would have been probably still collecting dividends on that.
Oh, hell yeah. Anybody want to make money right now? Just invest in shit for women. Just invest in shit for women,
Yeah.
because I guarantee you,
Oh,
you're
they're
always going to
buying
have a market.
Yeah, just get some of that stuff with the baby fetuses in it, and man, they just rub it all over their face, and they're happy with that.
Oh, man.
You can
You know,
mix it at home too. You get like learn how to emulsify coconut oil.
yeah, to everybody watching this, like, if I ever sell out, like, you're going to know it. I don't even have to tell you guys. You're going to know it. You're going to see me on TV. I make this oil for vaginas everywhere. And yeah, I just really care about the longevity of vaginas everywhere.
You can put that little knot for internal use. Oh man, yeah,
Oh, we're going to sell out, do it right, man. That's all I'm saying. Like, at least make it cost
yeah. I
effective.
looked at a lot of those options back in the day. Like I can't remember when I was thinking that way, and rose oil, how to make your own rose oil. And I was thinking, man, if I start a rose farm and then collect rose oil, and then like that would be a great product. And soap, how to make soap, and you can see how well the two guys on the internet that we have to listen to their stupid videos every day are doing with their Dr. Squatch. It's like, man, that's great business. And all you got to do is find a halfway decent looking girl to go, oh God, that smells so good, and 20 guys will go out and buy it.
Yep. The other crazy part about it is I ever tell anyone here how I sold oranges for $1 more because I was telling women that, oh yeah, these are special oranges. How are they special? They're feminized oranges.
You feminize them. You can rub these on your face. The vitamin C in these peels are much more. It's like it's like it'll make your face bright.
Women buy into all that. But I wish, like, I think I truly missed my calling as some kind of weird fortune teller. Could have just been making bank off of that. You will find the one in the eyes of a cat.
Oh, me and Joe were talking about this earlier. You find that product. It doesn't matter what they are. Just find that product you can sell to them, and you knowing of it is good enough. Knowing of the Simps or Simp oil. It's like some kind of Simp oil. So this will make your penis like just the girls will be so happy with it because it's like you don't have to be honest about these things. Honesty's out the door anymore. It's like, I mean, when you hit that, she'll be thinking like she loves you. It's like Simp oil for the discriminating man. Simp oil. It's just fucking emulsified coconut oil.
See, that's why I'm gonna do what I can, get my diet, everything control. I told my cousin, she got all mad at me. I told her I'm gonna live forever. She's like, "How are you so sure?" I was like, "Well, I wanna live long enough to look like Mr. Burns and just say release the hounds. Every time something goes wrong, and just form a pyramid with my hands." As he said, a lot of people are gonna hate you. I said, that's the point. Their hate will keep me going for light years.
Yeah, I just take all that in. Mr. Burns, he's a pretty funny character, isn't he?
I remember someone called him like a demon, a monster, the devil, and he looked at the person and said, "Too late for flattery."
Too late for flattery. Yeah, yeah. They did have him in the machine once, and he was sucking he was sucking. He was yeah. That's how he lied. They have that machine in the back where he puts him in, and he sucks the misery out of the air.
It keeps him alive.
It keeps him alive. Oh God, yeah.
That's why it's good, man. I mean, I laugh at all this. I've been I know this whole YouTube thing. I know what they're trying to make it into a TV thing. I've been on that. I've seen a few channels
Right.
talking about that. I got off of one because it was more or less the same stuff we've been like I've been talking about and stuff. And so, I mean, there's always Odyssey. There's always other stuff. They're never going to destroy the message. I just treat it like that one episode where Family Guy Peter was fighting. He was fighting these Amish guys, and every time he destroyed their barnyard, they would build it back in like 10 seconds and just stare at him.
Yeah.
That's what MGTOW is essentially, to the world. They can ban us from YouTube. They can silence us, but they'll never fully silence us. We'll just go. We'll go wherever we have to.
Come up. Eventually, there's going to be the next YouTube we're gonna all just migrate to, and it'll happen sooner or later, because they like you said, they want these Disney movies. They want you to order their Disney movies like Netflix, because that's much easier. Netflix don't have to put up with comments.
Yep.
Amazon just bought MGM this week. That was an interesting move. I thought, like, if you got Amazon Prime, it's probably going to go up, but man, we might be able to get to see the next James Bond movie earlier than 2022.
Nice.
Yeah, so they own all those MGM. Amazon Prime Video is probably going to be the place to go, and they're going to crush out. They're
Oh yeah.
they just want to crush out Netflix and Hulu sooner or later.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling everyone right now. If you want to buy stocks, buy stocks in Amazon. You won't regret that.
Yeah,
just get stocks in it. But make sure
the big thing's going to happen is eventually when they force them to split it up, like it'll be like you got your choice between Sprint and what was it, T-Mobile, Sprint. What was the original companies off of Ma Bell? And then all those companies just like went fucking haywire. They went great. Everybody made billions.
Oh yeah. That's what I was telling people. It isn't that hard to make money if you're smart about it. I mean, I've been doing my own little freelance thing for the longest time. It's not easy, but then again, hell, nothing is. I reached a point to where I was just tired of working for other people. It gets kind of annoying after a while. And so, set my own hours, do my own shit. Everything's on me, but I'm at least making decent money. So can't really complain. But yeah, learn about stocks. Bitcoin's fine, but learn about stocks and how the stock market functions and everything like that. If you're good with money or you're good with math or anything like that, you're missing your calling by not investing. If you're not a builder, be an investor.
Right.
But never be that kind of person that works to build somebody else's dream. You'll never get anywhere that way, like going on an hourly wage. I mean, that's what pisses me off on nowadays. There's a lot of entitled kids out there, a lot of entitled, they learned it from single mothers and women. They think that they're just going to get out of college and live this extravagant life. I'm like, no, you got to work for that. It's not going to be easy. Like, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a nurse. I mean, all of them try to be nurses and stuff, and they hate people. It's just hilarious. I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to do all this. And it's not going to go that way. They normally wind up working some kind of service job or at a Denny's or a McDonald's or something like that, and then now they're mad. I mean, that's why,
you got to work your way up, and Denny's or McDonald's too, and you got to put in your time. And
true.
It helps if you have a bachelor's degree, you can work in business. You can move up faster, but you still they ain't gonna come to your door and say, "Hey, Bill, we've heard about you. we've discovered you because you're so great." No, that's not going to happen. That's simple logic there.
Yeah, you gotta put yourself out there. And a lot of people don't understand this. You have to advertise yourself. You don't have to
Right.
necessarily be the most social person on the planet or even be great at talking to people, but you do have to advertise yourself somewhat. There's nothing wrong with working at a service job. It's just always be on the lookout for other things too, because even while you're working, you have to have good work ethic in order to do anything else. So as the old saying goes, if someone doesn't appreciate $10, then they won't appreciate $100. They don't appreciate
Right.
$100. They won't appreciate $1,000, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to understand the value of what you're working with. And thankfully,
Right.
due to my messed up experiences, I had no choice but to learn that. And so, when you don't have shit, and then later you get shit, you want to focus on how do you keep your shit.
Yeah.
So,
We had
you
this
know,
buddy as something. He was a door guy. I won't tell the company's name and everything because it's a pretty big company now. And he was a door guy. He roller doors, all kinds of doors, big doors, not just company doors. And you know what he did? And we figured it out. We were figuring out. You know what he did in his spare time while he was building the business?
what do you do?
He ran around with little stickers, and every time he seen a door, he replaced the original sticker with his sticker. So when the door broke, they looked at it and said, "Just call this guy." He would run up to random shops and just replace the sticker real quick and run away. And that's all he did all day. And he did hundreds and hundreds, and before you know it, there was thousands and thousands of doors out there with his sticker on it. Or he'd give me a couple and go, "Hey," once I figured it out, he was like, "Hey, why don't you put this inside your and each garage door as you go by?" And I was okay. People call the number. That's the stickers on there. And he was just being proactive in his own. He just, be busy, be smart, and be busy.
Exactly.
If people know your name, they've read that. Them stickers will stay up there, and sooner or later, the employee or the boss or someone's going to see it and go, "Oh, that's the guy that does the work. We'll call him." You got to get your name in there, otherwise, nobody knows to call you.
Exactly. I mean, and a lot of people, especially a lot of younger people, they're afraid to strike out there. And I'm telling them, like, don't be afraid of that. Just know that not everything's going to go. It won't be like an overnight kind of thing, but at the very least, you have to have good work ethic, and that isn't taught in schools anymore. They don't teach. In fact, it was probably never really taught in schools. They don't teach kids how to manage their money. They don't teach good work ethic. They just go, okay, show up, everybody gets a gold star. And even when you're acting out, you get a gold star. And it's just and this isn't me trying to be that guy like, oh, they need discipline. That's not even what I'm saying. They just need to have a sense of work ethic and a sense of purpose. And when I think about how I wouldn't say I wasted my 20s, but when I think about all of the time and dedication that I put to pursuing women, that
Yeah,
could have been placed in
right.
somewhere else.
That could have been placed. Yeah, that's yeah, you could have did anything with that time. That time's precious now, and that's a good lesson in life. Instead of wasting your time, picking out that new purple shirt with the little skinny black tie so you can and wow the girls when you get to the bitches and drinks portion of the night. And but you should think how much time you spend doing that. It's like
And
just cut that out, and you have all that time to do what you really want to do or what's really important to you.
that's why I feel sorry for those guys. I mean, they have no joy, they have no hobbies, they have no life. Their whole life exists to be like a wallflower or something. Got to
Yeah,
look good for the women, got to impress them, and they don't realize how lost they really are. I mean, even if that's
yeah,
something somebody wants to do, fine, go out and date and do whatever. But when that becomes your primary focus and you rank the act of getting laid or being the validation right up there with food and water, then hell yeah, that's a freaking problem.
that's
That's
a
a
That's
major
problem.
interesting you
problem.
say that. That's interesting you say that about hobbies because I talked to that simp, 65-year-old simp, and I go, "What are your hobbies?" He goes, "I don't have any hobbies."
Yeah, they don't have hobbies.
Yeah,
Nothing makes them.
yeah.
Nothing makes. Yeah, it's
65
just
years
that.
old. He never had hobbies. At 65 years old.
That's really scary. I
It
mean,
is scary.
I,
Hobbies is how we form our opinion about what we want to do in life.
yeah, and it's really funny because I had the same issue with that 40-year-old guy. I mean, he looked young, a little younger, but apparently that uh that Ask Nathaniel guy, like I'm done even like with that guy. But there's people that think like him, and they're giving off a bad message and causing more people to become lost. Because when someone tried to undercut me a while back on like a stream a few days back, because I was there, and I was telling one kid, well, if you want to meet people and dating's a big thing for you, then find actual hobbies. Go to a wine tasting event, join a book club, go to a museum, and then immediately someone says, "Oh, shut up, Mark. Well, that doesn't work, and that's not going to get him late or anything like that."
Yeah, that will get
And-
you out there, and hey,
And that
Joey,
was-
you should tell your buddy. What was his line I was going to use? He says, "No hobbies, huh? What are you going to do when you grow up?"
I'd laugh if I had been there. But the reason I mentioned that, the way I responded to the other dude that went at me, I told him, who's talking about getting late? He's like, well, that book club and that museum isn't going to get him late. I'm like, no, it may not get him late, but it'll at least put him out there. It might. But for the most part, if you go anywhere with this mindset where I'm going to meet women, I'm going to get late, and that's always playing your mind, and you're not enjoying what you're doing, hobby or not, then you shouldn't show up.
Girls everywhere. Just so you guys know, when I was like in the mid 30s, 35, 36, or 30, 39 after divorce and everything, the best, what I would do? Yeah, I didn't want to drink, and I stopped drinking. So I go hang out in laundromats, because what's in laundromats?
Yep.
If you can't, I go read a book in a laundromat. I was the most interesting guy in the world.
Wall Street Journal.
Yeah. Jesus, it's not that hard. These guys put too much emphasis on it. And I wanted to re-emphasize the backwards thinking that they do. After you failed, you're thinking backwards. How are you going to ascertain any information from thinking backwards on that situation? Let it go and go golf. Get some time for yourself and reassess the situation and start thinking from the nucleus out.
Because of that story, I already got a mental image of just women walking up to you at the laundromat like lost kittens and just going, "What you reading?"
What are you reading? Yeah, a lot of them have, I noticed that a lot of them had TVs, and what I really wanted to do is to watch the news and just be left alone. So I just started, and then they just wander up on you, and before you know it, you're drinking Cokes and talking about whatever, and,
Yeah. You like those cat conversations, right, Jeff? How's your
cat conversations? Yeah, it's like, so what color is your cat? Huh? Your cat.
I'd ruin. I would ruin that instantly. I just look down at my pants and go, well.
Oh man! The think of this, I think of some of the things I've done, and it is just like, when I was simping, it was just like crazy stuff. But there was sort of a logic behind it, but there wasn't. There wasn't really. I was just engaging in stupidity. Hey, can I drop out for a second? I had one too many Cokes.
I'll be here.
I'm not gonna drop out. I'm just gonna X out and walk out, and so I can go use the John. I forgot how to do this.
Oh, no worries. Me and
It used to be a turn off. Oh, mute. Okay.
Yeah. What's up, man? How you been?
I've been great, man. I've just been struggling with what to talk about tomorrow. Part of me wants to do a stream, the other part of me is lazy as shit. So I'm trying to hope my own subject kind of light a fire under my ass to kind of get me going. Because I've just been relaxed, man. I'm still going toe to toe with the freaking PUAs. So I may have to make a PUA level video to put their asses to shame, because these guys, I'm not worried about what they're saying to dudes my age and older, but when they talk to the 20-year-olds and the teens, they're giving these kids advice that are going to get their asses kicked. They're like, I foresee the future of those kids getting their asses kicked by some other dude or some guy my age or older. I wouldn't go over there and just start whooping the kid's ass or anything like that just because they offended me. But there's dudes who have no fucking self-control, who are still, on the fucking prowl, pussy hungry like a fucking vampire. So I try to help them out because a lot of teenagers, I'm sure you heard about teen MGTOW and 20-year-old MGTOWs and stuff, and it's good that they're coming in, but I also don't want them to be led astray. So I tell them, hell, they don't have to listen to me. Fuck, listen to anybody. Just don't take it. Just don't fucking take advice that don't work. If the advice is causing you to get your ass kicked, then don't do it. Very simple.
Okay. Dangerous advice. Chris Cantu, the red pill on steroids. We're talking about Chris Cantu.
Oh, Chris Cantu. Yeah,
Well, PUA is just
Oh.
PUA.
he was an enthusiastic salesman, wasn't he? He was always
He was a
selling
PUA,
something.
right? He was a PUA posing as a MGTOW, right? Pretty
I
much.
think he was more of a he was like he was using a PUA. He was trying to attract incels and TFL so he can sell them a product. So he's more of a salesman. And I think his main interest in MGTOW was making money off of MGTOWs.
Yeah.
Which with the red pill, what is that? The red pill coin with angry MGTOW he got, and not angry Harry, angry MGTOW. They were trying to sell that red pill coinage, and it's like, okay, yeah, and that's what they were there for. And well, you always selling what on the bottom of every video. There's like Viagra. Isn't that telltale? There's Viagra, and what was the other one that he was? The pills that the guys take for the hard-on pills.
Cialis.
Oh, the Cetaphil.
Yeah, whatever it is, because you can use it for two purposes: for working out, and it raises it expands your your veins and stuff. But it also works for it's probably really bad for you to do that stuff. It's like
either Cetaphil or clomiphene or something like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And then later on he was doing even whatchamacallit, MGTOW 101. He was trying to sell. He was selling all those products, and then at the end he's selling like you can make your own heroin. It's like
man,
it's like totally legal if you do it yourself. I don't think so.
That's what I mean. I mean, there are guys that go above and beyond, and or they just give bad fucking advice. My whole thing is especially to those watching this, if you want to sell some shit to MGTOW, be honest about it. If you want to be a PUA MGTOW, fuck, be honest about it. It's the dishonest bullshit that we tend to get mad about. Just be honest about it. I mean, we're not a guild.
There's very few products that MGTOWs are of interest. Mostly, probably testosterone and
yeah.
If it comes in a natural acidic acid, or what is the acid? I can't remember what the acid is in that form. And you could do things and increase probably vitamin C and stuff like that. But being honest about it, it's like you're trying to zinc for removing estrogen from your body would be a good product for MGTOW. If you're selling that, I have no problem with it. Zinc's a great product for MGTOWs. But if you're selling boner pills, it's like it was what I was talking about earlier. You're telling on you're starting from a point where it's absurd.
That's the thing. I mean, at least sell us stuff that we can use, like maybe bikes or cars, just something that we would actually show interest in.
Yeah, tools,
tools.
Tools. It would be great. You buy a bunch of tools from Albania, from Japan, and everything. Then get your own brand and sell tools, something like that. Men always need tools. We love tools.
Exactly. I mean, when they try to sell this PUA shit, and I had to explain it to a few of them, especially the younger ones. It's not like no one will buy it, but here's the problem with that. It's like trying to sell a bunch of cakes to a diabetic.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah, you're selling heroin to addicts when you're selling them products in MGTOW. It's like, no, we're trying to get rid of our addictions.
Yeah, not enable them.
Enable them. Yeah. But even in AA, one of the greatest line is, "Hey, the drug dealer is standing right out the door because he knows where you guys are at." And that was the Chris Cantu. He's the drug dealer standing out in the parking lot of a AA meeting.
That's the thing, man. Like, I laugh at these guys that tell them, we don't have an HQ, we have no leaders, we're not a guild, because some of them will go, well, that means I can't get laid anymore. I'm like, no, you do. It's a philosophy. At the end of the day, you do what the fuck you want with it. Like, we're not gonna be
Yeah.
leering over your shoulder, whatever. You do what the hell you want to do. What I get mad about with these particular guys is that they want to come over and either argue, I'm more MGTOW than such and such because he's not buying this or he's not doing that, and it's just, regardless of how someone wants to be with it, I tell those guys, look, I'm not trying to whip it out and see who has the smallest dick and compete the furthest, because that's the competition that they want to kind of engage in. And my thing about it is, it means what it means to the person. We're saying drop the hedonism, focus on yourself. But if they want,
a lot of you guys don't want to hear about it. It's just, with me, it's just, don't ask, don't tell. I don't talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. That's the monk. It keeps the conversations like our conversations. It keeps it civil, and it keeps it oriented, and it is always interesting things. If you're talking about that, it's just, that's not interesting to me anymore. And there's a lot of guys that just, they don't want, they're here for a reason, because they're trying to correct some things in their lives.
And that's what's scary. I mean, you can't take advice from a hedonistic person. It's just like taking advice from an alcoholic about not drinking, and it's insane. The thing that happened. I'm seeing more and more of these channels with people trying to sell enlightenment and telling others, if you just give me money, then I can help you, or if you buy this product, then it will help you.
Yeah, that's the I'm here to help people. That's angry MGTOW. He's always like, I'm just here to help people. I just want to help men. And that got so old. There are people around that feel that the message, you're relaying the message is helping men. And here's his philosophy that can work for you. And just try to practice it. And if it works out, then you get to pat yourself on the back and say, hey, I was there for dude, and that's
Exactly.
But this I'm here to help men, buy this from me, it's like, or give me a donation so I can continue helping yous.
Yeah, the classic, the classic scheme. And this is why I tell people, I've even had people, come to my channel and go, Mike Wolf, I don't like the way you say things. I don't like the advice you give. And then I'll listen to that for about 5 minutes. And I said, okay, well, bro, there's like hundreds of MGTOW to listen to. It doesn't have to be specifically me. And then they shut up and leave because they know it's true. I mean, like, there's like hundreds of guys. If you're not learning anything from MGTOW, or you say I've learned nothing, like another YouTuber I know, then you're not trying. There's always something to learn from somebody, even if you disagree with them. There's always at least one.
I listen to all these guys, and I disagree with some of this stuff today, but some of these guys run onto some things once in a while. They'll say it, they'll just stumble upon it, and they'll say something genius. Write that down in your book. It's like any book you read, you're gonna like parts of the book, you're gonna hate parts of the book, and it's not, the whole book wasn't written for you. Personally, someone walked behind you half your life and I just wrote this book especially for you. No.
That's what people want nowadays. They want that
tailored, like they tailor the book towards you. It's like that, there has to be something wrong with that. Who is that? That's Jeff. Okay, let's close that. Ooh, damn. I just opened it up. There we go.
Jeff Hoka.
That was Jeff Hoka.
I'll be right back.
Okay. We got the notice from Jeff Hoka.
What did Hoka do this week? He did something special that we were talking about before the Hangouts. What was he doing?
Did Hoka do something this week?
Yeah. I forget what it was. Yeah.
I probably missed it. Maybe you guys were talking about Wes. Rick's up on now the Hoka.
Yeah, what was the Hoka thing on Hangouts? He was.
I mean, he walked over
the moon. He walked on the moon or something.
He walked over Lake Erie. He walked on water. He
yeah.
he put out
He
the book.
walked on the moon in like the 40s or 50s before
Yeah.
everyone else, but they didn't publicize it or something
He
like
walked on the moon, and
that. Yeah, that's right.
he's got like thousands of volumes of books written.
Yeah, yeah.
Hoka on Black Seed Oil, volume 53.
He's, he was one of those guys too. Like I remember he was gonna do like this thing where he was gonna videotape women and like conversations with women on video, and he got like a couple $1,000 donations doing that. Or,
Yeah, he says that. Well, no, that he did that on purpose just to show that it can be done. But he did it, and yeah, he caved to the pressure. It was like you see you're walking down the road and you see an apple just hanging there, and no one's gonna like. And it's like it's the most delicious looking apple you ever seen in your life, and you just stare at it. Nah, that would be stealing if I took it. And then no one's looking, and you're like, okay.
yeah.
I think he just grabbed hold of what was the opportunity that was there for him. I think that was the message that he promoted. But
You never took him up on that Steak and Shake thing, did you?
No, I just didn't want to be murdered. And he wanted to do that thing where we'll go record girls and hit on them and see what their responses is.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I don't do that. I just don't interact. That can only cause trouble. That was the ex-Paladoc thing.
Yeah.
He thought that was a good idea, the ex-Paladoc it, and walk into a bar with a video camera and ask girls questions.
Well, and that's why that's where he needs to read Schopenhauer. Talk that quote that
Yeah, what is that quote? I was going to ask you about. You want me to read it?
Yeah, you want to read it? Yeah, you want to read it? Yeah, I don't have it in front of me.
Where is it? Was it in the
Hangout? It's in Hangouts. It's in Hangouts. I don't know if I sent it to you or if I sent it to
the club or is it yours?
I think it's in Club, but it was like a day or two ago.
Oh man, that'll take a million years to get to that.
Well, let me get back to the computer. I'll cut and paste it. On your Hangouts.
Oh, that was after Panic. Oh, yeah, Hoka. This week he diverted the Panic and the skyscraper in China.
Yeah. Oh, that's what he did. Yeah, that's what it was.
He just went right to it.
Yeah, he was he diverted the
Jeff and Joe Buddy were not Jeff and Joe. Gemma and Joe Buddy were dressed up in the ass costume and they were racing.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a skyscraper.
He moved a mountain too, and he saved all those people on the mountain.
Yeah.
What am I looking for? The Schopenhauer quote. I couldn't.
Yeah, there's a Schopenhauer quote, and that's like it's such an important quote because why would you pursue a female like just based on that? I mean, the guy,
I'm on Tuesday. I don't think it was. I think it was more like Thursday or something.
Yeah. I think I must have posted it on your. Here it is. Schopenhauer. Yeah, I got it. I got the quote. Let me cut and paste it on your. I'll let you read it if you want to. Yeah, I'm just kind of.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the fundamental defect of female character is a lack of sense and justice. It originates first from the foremost their want for rationality and capacity for reflection, but it strengthens by the fact that they, as a weaker sex, they are driven to rely on force, but cunning, on not force, on cunning. Yeah, they're instinctively subtle, and they're indirect tendencies to tell lies. For as nature has equipped the lion with claws and teeth, and the elephant with tusk, and the boar with fangs, and the bull with horns. I'm reading from a little thing here, and the cuttlefish with ink. So it equipped women with the power to dismutilation as a means of attack and defense, and transforms into this gift into strength. It bestows on men the form of physical strength and power of reasoning. Dissimulation is dissimulation. Yeah. Dissimulation, thus born in her, and consequently to be found in the stupid woman almost as I had to see if that was right. And the stupid woman as often as she is a clever one. To make use of every opportunity is natural to her, as for an animal that employs the means of defense wherever it attacks. And when she does, she feels that to some extent she is only existing her rights. And that's so true right there. Her completely truthful woman who does not practice dissemination, it's perhaps an impossibility for which women see the dissemination of others so quickly as an indivisible to attempt with them. Okay. But this feminine defect, which I have said they process together with association with, gives rise to a fallacy, unfaithfulness, treachery, and ingratuity, etc. Women are guilty of perjury far more than men. It's the questionable whether they ought to be allowed to take an oath at all. Okay.
Yeah, he was born from 1788 to
1814 or something. Yeah, 1814.
1860. Yeah, he was
1860.
But that information was out there. How he just
Yeah, they spoke about it. Like yeah, they are lying, deception. From we talk about it all the time. Evolutionarily, this is what they had to do, is become manipulative and cunning.
Right, it's in their DNA.
Yeah, it's in their DNA.
Well, this is his opinion, but I think it's pretty damn good. Like they don't disappoint. They don't disappoint. Women don't disappoint. Like Schopenhauer's analysis there, the women don't disappoint.
Yeah, just go around a stripper and leave your wallet out and see if it disappears.
yeah, because you hear the stories over and over again.
And ask yourself, was that evolution?
It's in their DNA to be cunning. It's in their DNA to be deceptive. Which is
they
really
use what
weird.
they got.
It's really weird, but they're terrible at poker too. I love it. I love playing with women at the poker table.
Yeah, they always got.
I just steamroll them. I just steamroll them. I raise every time. I raise with any hand just to piss them off.
Yeah, you can push the table and.
You figure they should be better.
Yeah, well, you can push an emotion out of them by pushing the table, and then when you get the emotions, you can judge their tells.
Oh my God, they're so great. I love it when they sit down. They're easy to piss off. But yeah, they're cunning. Yeah, he just hit it on the head. That word cunning just kind of stuck out more than anything.
Yeah, they're cunning and manipulative, and that's what they do. That's evolution. And we talk about biology and evolution and MGTOW. We want to see the truths and these things. We research and we research and we research for these truths. It's not that the traditional the traditional society around us is ever going to accept us. But like I said, they didn't accept Darwin. They didn't accept, Galileo. They told Socrates and killed Socrates that we will be met with they look at us as an unfriendly truth, and they will always try to balk backwards to where they were.
And men don't understand that, and then so like, why would you ever go into a partnership or business with a cunning person? I mean, you would never would.
Yeah.
Same thing applies. And they're not called out for it, because the media portrays them, and not just media, but like just the society in general portrays them as angels and unicorns and.
Right. Yeah. True. Always believe in what they say.
Yeah.
God, you're opening yourself up. If you believe everything they say, you're just opening yourself up for loss.
Yeah. We had a guy that he was a real shyster. This guy used to gamble with, and
there was a game. It was like Virginia was playing Virginia Tech, right? Or yeah, Virginia was playing Virginia Tech, right? It was one of those, or like Georgia was, or it was one of those like Oklahoma State playing Oklahoma or something like that. So he bets like Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma State he bets, right? Or something like that, right? And then he bets 500 on it. This is like in the late 80s, early 90s. He bet this is a story that circulated around my town. Like so he bets 500 on Oklahoma State, but they lose. He loses the bet. Now back then you bet on credit. You put the slip in to the guy, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So he goes, no, I didn't bet Oklahoma State. I bet Oklahoma. He goes, why would I lie? He goes, why would I lie? That's how he got out of paying the bet. And it's kind of like this is like a guy doing it, which is pretty bad. But like that's something like a woman would do. And I had a friend that actually happened to recently. This woman put a bet in for him last year, and it was like it was the same bet, $500 bet, and then he calls her like at halftime, and they're winning. Team's winning by like 20, 30 points. Right, the bet's gonna win. 99% is gonna win. She goes, "Oh, I forgot to put the bet in for you. Sorry." You know, so it's like one of those cunning things. You know, why would you ever go into business with these types of people? You know?
Yeah, she was banking on him losing, and she didn't put the bet in, and she get to keep the 500.
Right, she got to keep 500, and it finds out later she has a drug habit.
Yeah,
and there's a tragic end to this story because she ended up in a motorcycle accident. And a young girl ended up dying in a motorcycle accident, like a few months later, which is really weird, right? So she's just living this hectic life and crazy life, you know.
They'll take a few with them too, won't they?
Yeah, and if you're around that type of energy, forget it, man. If you're around that type of simp or whatever, you forget it. And you're gonna get the, how'd you say it today, Joe? You're gonna get the I forgot how you put it. The residue, or how'd you say it?
There's going to be just all kinds of things that are going to happen around her. The properties of you're going to get backlash.
The measurement is going to be. Your life might end. That might be the measurement. You're going to have a shorter life. You're going to have more stress, whatever.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I was just trying to clear my throat because I'm back and I listened to your story. It took me a while because we got a new mailman, or air quote male woman, and she already hates my freaking guts. Cause I came out there and just because I knew she was driving around, couldn't find my house. Most people can anyway. I went out there and I said I'll just take the mail, and she's like, "You live here?" I was like, "No, I just come out here and get the mail occasionally. I'm what you call a reverse robber. I don't break in houses and steal stuff. I break into houses, move my own furniture and pictures in there, and just take up residency." Can I have my mail, please?
Can I have my mail, please? Yeah, who else is out here?
What other houses are out here? I mean, shit, I got like so much space in between that, and I was just like, "Are you sure this is your mail? I'm gonna need some ID." I'm like, oh my God, we're really doing this shit.
Yeah, it's like I'm just here. I'm gonna break into this house and I'm gonna clean it.
Yeah, maybe guys will see me on the news someday. God, this is the nicest criminal we ever encountered. He breaks in your house and cleans it and just puts his pictures up and takes residency. God, you're the best.
Man, he fucking sanded and stained the cabinetry. He got on the internet and he paid the bills. That's what I think that's so funny when I go to my my electric bill. There's like these bills. He said there's scams on these bills, and I said, "What, did someone get a break in and pay it for me?" Jesus.
Guess my gangster name should be Gangsta Paradise. Everywhere I go turns into a paradise.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish that was true. Like, people be breaking in my shit and paying my bills. I'm like, I got you.
I have robbed you the joy of losing money.
I'd be like, damn it, I want to pay my bill.
I think we got to call that reverse simple or something.
Yeah.
Hell, I might do that someday. Just mow somebody's lawn. Ha! I've robbed you the masculine trait of mowing the lawn.
Ah. Yeah, mowed your lawn. Yeah, I didn't even go opposite directions.
we need more criminals like that.
Yeah.
Because
It's like I just had to prove to that guy that I can mow his lawn better.
I was telling a good friend of mine, RO, about this. Really cool guy. I told him where I live, the only reason the crime rate is so fucking low is not because of the demographic of the neighborhood. It's mostly because most of the people around here, regardless of background, we don't have a crime problem. We have a everybody is getting high problem. And the funniest thing ever is, and I can believe it because a friend of mine told me about this. He's like, yeah, there was a guy. I was kind of at a liquor store because the only thing people do here is either smoke weed or do alcohol or some combination of both. But he's coming out of the liquor store. He's like, yeah, the cops are trying to get this guy. Apparently, he was stoned out of his mind. They chased him around the police car, and then he hops in the back, closes the door, and says, "Ha ha, you can't get me." Yeah, sounds like my neighborhood.
Oh man!
Like, well, you win. We can't get him.
You win. I'm just going to drive away around for a while until you give up.
He was hiding from the cops in the cop car.
In the cop car, that's stupid. That's
But this Schopenhauer guy,
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that quote, Black Wolf, but they said he was philosophically pessimistic, right?
right.
And yeah, it's just interesting how I'm just looking up. I'm looking up that term, right? It's not a state. It's not a state of mind or psychological a disposition, but rather it is a worldview or ethic that seeks to face up to the perceived tasteful realities of the world and eliminate rational hopes and expectations. Right? I mean, reading off a wiki, which sucks, but that kind of covers kind of stuff you talk about, fantasy fictional and Schopenhauer to
Right.
for them to they're trying to portray Schopenhauer as pessimist, but these are the realities of what women are.
Yeah, he didn't buy into the fantasy. I think he was one of the original founders of what Adler was going for, the fantasy fiction world there, and Schopenhauer. Although he was an incel and they say he was a very homely man. He's just, that was his life logic.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop the comedy. Yeah.
But with that attitude, you can see if you take the right attitude and the are an incel or a TFL or something, you can take the right attitude, look at the way people act, look at the fantasy fiction that they put in, and you're better off. Immediately you go, I'm not so bad off. Look at these guys. They're pretending that this life is just puppies and butterflies and they're going to get had.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like my buddy living in that nice house by the beach and all that, and he's just not happy. It's like that showed me a lot. He's a great guy. I like him. He's a good dude, smart, but it's like, how about giving a little thanks for what you got and where you're at in life,
Yeah.
Like you're blocked.
Yeah, a little gratitude and a little, it's like I did good. It's like take some time, pat yourself on the back, and take a break.
Right. And he wants to make more money, which is fine. Hey, listen, it's good.
That's
hey,
fine.
It's not. And I told him, I said, well, the way you really need to maybe think of assessing it is what's your quality of life going to be? What's your stress level going to be? That's a better way of saying it. If you might make more money, but is that extra 100 or 200 grand, is it worth it? Is it worth it you being stressed out of your mind?
Yeah, and you know what that's for.
Oh, of course, that's for a future, unicorn.
Yeah, I got to buy the ring. I got to pay for the wedding. I got to.
Right. Well, I don't think he's that dumb to get married, but
Then I can give her half my
Steve
shit.
Hoka. Steve Hoka's working on a DNA project. You just never know. You know, the Hoka girls are coming, Volume 3.
Yeah, Volume 3, Hoka Girls.
Yeah, Hoka on strippers. That was a classic. Volume 1.
Volume 1, Hoka, Volume 1.
You never heard of that book, Black Wolf? You ever heard of Hoka on Hoka?
No, it's my first time hearing it.
Steve Hoka, yeah, he's just what is he, Joe? A TFLer? I don't even know what he is. He used to be on the streams though.
He coined himself TFL years ago, but he used to watch a lot of that. The original founder of TFL, I can't remember his name. He's still around. Alex on Life. I think that was who originally founded. He had the original book on TFL. I can't even find it anymore. I don't even know if it's in print. But he used to buy into that whole, this is, true force loneliness. And he thought he was a TFL. And when you look at Steve, you go, no, that guy's not a TFL. There's nothing TFL about him.
No. Running marathons. Yeah.
Yeah, he's running marathons. Obviously, he had great health. It's like, that's not TFL.
No, it's not TFL. No,
that gives you one of the big three. It's
he
health.
presents himself pretty well too. He's not a dummy.
Yeah, he's not a dummy. So he has health, intelligence, and all he needed was money.
Man, I was so bored last weekend. Everyone was wondering what I was working on, and I don't know if it was just the insomnia kicking or not, but I have to be working, doing something with my hands, or else I'm just not fucking. I gotta do something. And so I got bored, and I bought this model train set, put it together, laid down the tracks and everything. And my dad comes over. He's like, "You really wasted just 3 days doing that." And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Why?" I was like, "Oh, hold on, because he told me that's a waste of energy. You should be doing something productive." I was like, "I am doing something productive." He's like, "What?" I said, "Watch this, watch this." The train loops around a couple of times, and then it comes to me, and he's like, "What was that all about?" I was like, "Nothing." Just I look in the back. He said, "What are you looking for?" I'm like, "No, just I took out something." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yes, a train delivered beer to me. I call that progress."
Oh, you had little beers and compartments.
Yeah, I got those little miniature things. It's really cool because I have it set on a switch track. I hit the button, it goes over. I hit another button, and the little miniature bottle goes into the back of the caboose and everything, and I can fill it up at least 3 times before I have to go over there. But yeah, I get 3 free deliveries, and then press the button, stop, and then let it continue going that way. And he's like, "Wow, you really wasted over $300 to do." Yes, I was that fucking bored.
In Bedford, Ohio, the historical museum in Bedford, Ohio, it was the birthplace of the guy that used to do the paintings of the American flag, like Washington crossing the Potomac and everything. I can't remember the guy's name, but they had some of his art down in there. But upstairs, they funded for like 30 years. And it's one of these cases of they just forgot the guy was there and kept paying him. They funded this guy for 30 years to build a train thing, and it was amazing. And then the city found out about it, and they right before he was actually done with this immense project, they fired him.
God, man, I'd have been pissed.
It was like 30 years in the making, and he had built mountains for the trains to go over, and it was a whole warehouse upstairs that he filled it with trains, and people used to bring. He ran ads every week for, if you got a train set and you don't want it, bring it here. And it was the steel track, the old steel track.
Wow.
And it's still up there. They say it's still up there. They did an article on it. Somebody did, USA Today or something, did an article about how amazing this train set is. Man, I was like, can you imagine how happy that guy was?
Yeah, to have his work recognized. That's freaking awesome. I've always liked trains and boats and everything, and I've always just thought it was really cool, steam engines and how that works. I mean, one guy powered his house.
Trains.
Yeah, what's with all the hate for trains? I remember like this people just hate trains now, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's one guy powered his whole house with a steam engine. He even put that isolating glass over it. Something I was reading about, and then they
Okay.
city got mad at him for about that too. Like, oh, are you stealing electricity? I'm like, wow, that's their one. He was producing it. It's the same as how I've been experimenting with the water wheel for a couple of years now. I haven't perfected it because I mean, plumbing and water stuff is still kind of relatively new to me. And so
Okay.
the thing with the water wheel, you can actually power your whole house with a water wheel. It's just kind of tricky. You don't want it to go too
Yeah,
fast, but you
a
also don't
good
want it to go too slow.
yeah, if you got a good creek and you can power a 12 volt real easy motor, and you take a mega motor and make it into a generator and a trickle charge. It keeps going 24/7 and it keeps trickling whether you're using it or not. That's a really good idea.
Yeah,
Uh,
you get all that reserve power and everything, and hell, have a backup generator if you're truly worried about it. I mean, the thing about it is, and they don't want you to know this, the people in the comment section, you can completely eliminate your electricity and your gas bill 100% if you're crafty enough.
right. That's what I always thought. Up here, we see you see in back of me. There's that river right there.
Hmm.
You can put a small hydroelectric dam across that river upstream. There's probably a 30-foot drop, and then you put a small electric. It doesn't have to be something huge, but you get to reuse water over and over and over and over again. You can put one a half quarter mile down, and you can put another one a quarter mile down from that, and you can put another one a quarter mile down for that till this thing hits the lake, and keep using it. And that they don't have to be huge, all disrupting dams like they got in New York. You know, they could be a series of small hydroelectric that just run paddle wheels, and that river moves every single hour of the day, every day.
Yeah.
And you know what else I always thought was stupid, and they could probably institute this in LA and everything, the discharge and the charge from sewage too. That water is moving every single hour of the day, and you can actually probably generate enough power inside of sewage to power the sewage people, and we can have free water and free sewage.
Exactly. You know, I've been like bringing this up for years. There are tons of little changes that we could make to make things more efficient, but I don't know why towns and cities they refuse to do this, and when you bring it up to them they go, we don't have the money for that. Okay, but we have money for all this other stupid shit.
Yeah, they have money for like really dumb stuff, and well, they want to pay themselves without having to actually do any work. That's where it becomes self-serving of government. They just want to sit in those offices and not have to do any actual work or figure out any
Exactly.
of these actual problems.
Exactly. And to people watching this, and like, dude, something else really funny happened. I lived on this street for many years, and we had like a pothole issue,
Yeah,
and I wasn't around for this to happen because frankly I live too far away from like the people closest to me. But apparently a lot of the older guys, dudes like 50 and up, they got really pissed off about this. And so they went and paved the road. Now I don't know who's gonna get in trouble for this, but they got so sick of this shit they went out there and paved the road
pay
themselves.
pay the road themselves. Yeah, that's being part of your community and doing that. Yeah, there's a section right over here. There's a section. I'm going to tape it tomorrow before they're going to pave over it really soon. But for the last 10 years, I've got 3 jumps where I can get like at least 4 foot in the air because the cement is so bad.
Man, that's That's what I mean. I mean, communities. People always think, "Oh, we don't have the money for that." Like, if more people are willing to be invested in their community, there are a lot of changes that we can make instead of just fucking talking about it. People can actually do it. Because,
Yeah,
dude, when I walked out there, it was like I was on another planet or something. I was like, "Hey, Dad, come look at this." He's like, What are you talking about?" I was like, "Look at the road." He looked at me and was like, "Damn, what happened?" I was like, "Wow, just." Do you know that new road? It was just jet black with the lines on it. It even smelled nice, at least to me. Freaking smelled nice. It was beautiful. The road
yeah.
was just beautiful. Just like had that fresh asphalt kind of thing going. Looked just brand spanking new. And I was happy. It's like there's no more potholes. And I was like, what are you gonna do? I was like, I'm gonna drive on it. on the fucking drive
Oh,
on
man.
that.
One of the most horrible things I've ever seen cities do, and it's like there's this section up uh, up at the top. It runs into a divided highway, so no one can go down. You can't ride your bike and everything. But there's a section that goes next to the school, and there's a field and everything. Someone actually took the time one night to put a little bike path in. They graded it and they dropped stones, and now you can cut through and you can make it to the grocery store in about like 2 minutes instead of having to go all the way around and avoid traffic and avoid being killed if you're a pedestrian or a cyclist. And you know what they did?
What they do?
They covered over it and restarted grass. They said, no, you can't have this.
Damn, that's cold.
That is cold, and you can just look
Damn.
there, and it's like, man, it would have been a nice little path. It was a little gravel path for riding bikes on and keeping it sort of smooth. And it went into this little lovely tree area. You could have put a park bench there, and it would have been so nice for the community. But they had to have it their way because it wasn't their idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so crazy about it to me. There's people have told me in the past, like, oh, well, if you just don't want people to have a Starbucks, you just don't want people to have an amusement park or fun. That's not even what I'm against. We can have all of that, but let that be a bonus thing. Don't like fix up the shit we have. I mean, like the stop signs and everything else. About a few months ago, maybe 5 months ago, I did something really stupid. I've only told two of my friends about this. I was riding my bike, and some city person was looking at their phone. They crash into a stop sign, flip over, and their car is starting to leak.
Yeah.
And I go over, and I still had my helmet on, and so I go over, I pull them out, and this dude was still on his fucking phone. Like he was just so worried about what was going on. And then later I figured out why he was worried. Apparently his girlfriend said that she was dumping him. Him and his girlfriend having some weird fight. And he comes out of a fucking smoldering car almost, just still, like arm fucked up, holding on to that phone. And what I did was I let him attend to his little phone and everything. Called ambulance, everybody, and as I'm walking away, they're like, "Oh, who are you?" I'm just a passerby. I really did not want the attention. Got on my bike, just freaking left, and that was just my freaking good deed for the day. But I was thinking to myself the entire time, because part of me didn't even want to go over there, but it was just so crazy. It's like he went over the freaking stop sign, ran over that, and went. So they're not gonna fix that stop sign anytime soon. But by the same token, the reason I mentioned this story is that if someone doesn't like the city and you move to a rural area, please don't turn it into the very thing that you've left. It's not going to go down like that because nobody wants it. That's why a lot of people move. We have a lot of New Yorkers and a bunch of other people, a bunch of the Callies and everything, trying to go further up north and fuck with everybody in the mountains. And I'm gonna tell you, like, we are not. A lot of us are not used to that. They come here and they call us ignorant and all these other names and say, "Oh, everyone here's a misogynist, everyone here's a racist," and I'm laughing because the place is relatively diverse and we never had any of these issues until we started getting more of them. Now we're having these issues and shit. Like race was never a huge thing up here, and no one really cared.
Yeah.
Yeah, like no one ever. We had long gotten over it because most people here.
We weren't even thinking about that.
Yeah, like none of us were even thinking about it. We just all want to live our lives and work together. And the funny thing about where I live is even when somebody gets mad at you, they try to take some religious route or try to just be civil with it. Or if someone just doesn't like another person, they just stay away from that person. They try not to escalate shit. That's seen as in rural places that's seen as even if you have very good reason. People just more or less, we try not to escalate anything because we hate drama. A lot of us just hate the drama. We rather just leave somebody alone, wish them well.
You chose to live where you live because you don't want to have any of that drama around you.
And now it's moving up here. And my life motto is when I really don't like someone, I'll go, you know what? Don't like Frank over there. Wish him the best, but fuck him.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah, sorry for that rant.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I was thinking we're at 2 hours and 29 minutes now. That's usually about my.
Just getting warmed up, Joe. What are you talking about?
Oh, you just get warmed up? Okay.
Joke. Just busted your balls, man.
Man, I'm six. You know, if I didn't get my 18 hour, I'm an old man. I need 18 hours of sleep.
Well, don't watch that Steve Harvey video. Whatever you do, that it's make you feel guilty.
Oh yeah. I haven't worked for 18 hours today. What am I doing in life?
Yeah. No, I'll just tell real quick. I just want to tell Black Wolf real quick before we leave. Like, I was listening to what you were talking about with those old friends you had when you were like you pick them up in the airport and whatever, buy them drinks, and then they wouldn't even get you a glass of water, you know. And just thought about that. You know, that sounds like a lot of friends I had in the past.
Yeah, they were really backstabby, man. I mean, the worst part is like I grew up with some of these guys like from like way back. Like one of them from preschool. I'm still friends with one of them, but for the rest of them, it's just like damn. They'll look at me now and go, "Oh, Wolf got everything. You know, he got his land, got a little 2-story house, little bike, car. Like fuck him." And then some of them like to act like I didn't grow up in the same damn position they grew up in. The only difference is I kept my nose to the grindstone. I didn't fuck my life up, and now people want to get mad at you for that. And even when I had more, I always shared what I had. No one ever left my house hungry. I buy food. I would treat people the way I want to be treated. You know, pick them up for the airport. I helped one friend move because I had a truck and everything. And then when I had problems, no one was around to help me. And hell, I had two of them cuss me out. Oh, you look down on me. Fuck you, bitch. Like all this other stuff, you, your whole family, and everything like that. And at that point, yeah, I was hurt and I became angry. But then I wasn't even hurt or angry anymore. I was like, you know what? I'm happy they showed me who they were. Now I know not to associate with them anymore. I mean, and it's really sad because it was mostly city folks that did this to me. I had problems with rural people too, but city people, what I don't like, and it isn't all of them, but what I don't like about the average, metropolitan kind of person, you can know them for 10, 20, sometimes even 30 years and never truly know them until they get pissed off. And then that one instance, they'll cuss out everything you stand for your entire fucking existence. And then they still want to hang out with you as long as they're getting something out of it. So it's the two-faced nature that I couldn't deal with anymore. And my whole thing is, if you're gonna hate me, fine. Like me, cool, but don't be lukewarm. I can't stand that. It's just say how you feel and just own it. Don't lie and wait to throw like a blade in the shadows or something like that. That'll piss me off the most. But it hurt because I was just doing what I was taught to do. Treat people the way you want to be treated, judge people by the content of their character. All that stuff. None of that stuff was bad per se, but it's hard when people aren't doing the same for you. And so I decided to just work for myself because I don't want to be treated like shit by friends, family, or some crazy boss. So that's why I do a lot by myself. And I can't live in a place like, LA or the heart of New York. I really think that would just crush my fucking spirit, and I'd probably just find the nearest roof or something because it's a depressing place. I don't think that we as people were meant to live that damn close to everybody else. It's just something kind of mind numbing about living like a beehive or a fucking ant colony that it really just messes with the psyche, and the spirit of the soul or something like that. It's just wrong in my opinion. That's how I feel anyway. Shouldn't doesn't have to be that way, but people make it that way. So I like living in places with a small number of people, and I tell friends and family my tribe is small. I can only help who I can help, and I try not to worry about the little things. That's why peace of mind is important. I made that video about peace of mind, and travel's there too, and that's where I was getting at. Yeah, that's where I was getting at. You have to have peace in mind in what you do, because if you don't have that, then you're just existing, and living and existing are not the same thing.
Yeah.
Anybody can exist, but you gotta live life. Take it by the horns and make it do what you want it to do. It won't always go your way, but at least you're trying. Be defined by what you overcame, not what happened to you. That's always been my take on it. And as I get older, I become more humble to that fact. I'm happy that my financial situation is getting better, so by the end of the year I'll be moving. And I because this place, it's just gonna get bad. It's gonna turn into like City 2.0 over here, and And like once again, I have no issue against city people. I've just had just really messed up experiences with them, and it just caused my anxiety and everything else to rise because yeah, they've been pretty crazy. Can't go to the liquor store without somebody getting up in your face or trying to cuss you out, fight you and stuff. And so it's just, when you're not used to that, it's just kind of like, whoa, okay, I got to get the hell out of here. Time to leave the woods, go to the mountains. So I'm looking for a place where it rains a lot, great for produce, and just, live the peaceful life. I mean, some call it going monk mode. I just call it being a hermit. That's kind of what I am anyway. I'm just kind of
Yeah.
off to myself, doing my own little thing, and need help, I'll help. You don't have to pay me to fix a fence or something. If you're my neighbor, I want my neighbors to be like as comfortable as possible. That way, one, they don't have to ask me for shit all the time, and two, if they ever hit hard times, I don't want to be on their attack list
Yeah.
for the most part. So yeah, because idle mind, as they say, bad shit happens when the mind's idle. So I like to just do little stuff. But I'm always happy to. I thank you for always having me on. I'm always happy to talk to you guys. I always get an intelligent, conversation. It's great. It's great being here, and this is what the MGTOW community should be about.
Right, yeah. I wish we had a bigger MGTOW community where we had them in our neighborhoods and we had little meetings and everybody, that would be great. But we are under attack all the time. It's they want us to say what they want us to say and what they want to hear, and that's not going to come from us. We're just going to keep telling the truth, and that's the way the world's going to change. If we have to be vigilant with our truth.
Yeah, because society doesn't like it when men help themselves. And that's why I used to jokingly say this, but now I'm just going to outright say it. Out of all the bad things that feminism has done and all this SJW modern culture, whatever, out of all the bad that it's done, it did one really good thing. It liberated men. It showed men how society has always viewed us. And we looked at it. First we got mad, and then now we're just like, okay. They can have their thoughts and their feelings. If they're going to do that, I'm going to take my ball and I'm going to go over here, and then nobody has to worry about me or hear from me. I'll just be gone.
Yeah, I love them. The MRA puts up those, all those guys put up those, here's a girl doing something stupid. Here's a girl doing something stupid. And then they take the wrong attitude about that. They like, oh, we got to change these women from doing that. And I said, no, them are MGTOW makers there. Every time they do something stupid, they make another MGTOW.
What that guy say? Because we just wait for them to arrive.
Yeah, we don't do nothing. We just wait for them to arrive.
Grey Wolf. I don't know who he is. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's a great statement. I can't remember who did that one.
Grey Wolf. Yeah, it was
Grey Wolf.
Yeah, I don't know who he is either.
Man.
Yeah, MGTOW don't have to proselyte. We just wait for them to arrive.
Yep.
There's a lot of MGTOW makers out there, I hate to see the guys go through that, but sometimes it's just like stupid girl at grocery store, and you don't get that hurt. It's just like sometimes it's someone you live with, and you have to go through that whole thing. Sometimes it's your wife. You got to go through that thing. But them are MGTOW makers. I hate for guys to, have to go through that thing with the wife and the children and go through that kind of pain. But hopefully they see, some of this stuff and go, okay, now I'm just going to pull away a little bit and consider what damage it can do to me.
That's why I'll just.
I'm pulling out.
That's why I laugh when they act like we're recruiting people. We're not. They just come over here.
Yeah, they hear the truth and they come over, and it's easy to tell the truth. It just sounds like the truth. Their
lives usually get better right away.
Yeah,
right away. It's like you see the benefit, like immediately, and then
right. MGTOW has a profound effect on your life. If you're doing really bad, your life's going to get better. It can only go up, and then you might be surprised how much better it will get. I mean,
yeah, sure.
I mean, I think God is the gods in the skies. They smile at MGTOW. They must, because under that logic, we must be the most holy people in the world because we seem to do better every single time.
And with that, I'm just kidding.
And with that,
That's why I'm happy for it, because it gives a sense of meaning. I've been meaning to make a video about what kind of made me MGTOW, and believe it or not, it wasn't even necessarily, it wasn't a bad relationship. It was more along lines of bad things that happened in a good relationship that no one had any real control over. And after that, I'm not gonna lie, it messed me up, and for a very long time. And then when I actually came across MGTOW, I think I was at my most pissed off state, and that's why I tell people you have to take micro doses of the black pill. Don't ever fully take that thing, because it's like taking a damn cyanide pill. Essentially, you just lose hope in virtually anything. It's not the truth is not there to shatter your hope. It's there to show you, okay, this is what it is. It's gonna piss you off, and you need to find something more productive to do. Being angry all the time is not productive. And when I see these men or these PUAs, these guys, they're telling people they hate angry people and shouting into a freaking microphone, and they're the most angriest person there, and that's
yeah.
they don't even see their own hypocrisy. And this is why I was able to come along. So yeah, MGTOW saves lives. Hell, it saved mine. And so I try to return the favor.
Yeah, it had an effect on me. You know, it's all by cause too. We don't do no. We don't. You know, it's not like the whole traditional thing didn't lie to all these men. I mean, it was their lie that started this thing, and we just reacted. It's all by cause.
Yeah, that's why
So
I laugh.
if they're blaming anybody, blame themselves.
Yeah, they need to, because they're the ones that are drinking the, metaphorical poison and hoping that we drop. And I laugh when people refer to us as a cult. Then, oh man, I really get a kick out of that one. Some chick said that to me one day, and I said, "Wow, if we're a cult, we are the worst operated one in existence." I mean, but I tell her, "Don't worry. Every time a new MGTOW comes around, I always make sure to bring the sacred prune juice and go, here's the sacred prune juice. It will help you get rid of all the shit you've been taught."
Yeah, we don't have no cult products. We don't take any money. We just, we haven't even killed a single person. Man, we're the worst cult ever.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing it wrong. That's why I laugh at it. It's just McDonald's. It's a philosophy, and more so an advanced way of thinking. I mean, we're just reacting to what's going on. And people will have told me in the past, well, why not join the MRA? Why not? Because once again, that's not a MGTOW thing to do. I mean, they could try to fix it. If they're successful with it, then great. If they're not, then oh well. It's still not going to have a major effect on really any of us, because I know guys that are not going to go back to the plantation, even if they change the laws due to bad experiences. I know many guys that are never going back under no circumstance, because they're tired. They're tired of all of it.
As far as I'm concerned, we have a lot of stats in MGTOW, and the failure rate in MGTOW is only one. There's only been one guy ever to fail.
Mike, is that the guy?
Yeah, it's just one guy. I don't want to say his name out loud, but everybody knows who failed. He had the other guy too that he brought with him, and he failed too. Mr. or something. I can't remember his name. He was like the second failure. That's only because he let the first failure rub off on him.
Statistician would call that an outlier.
He's an outlier. It's a failure. Yeah.
It doesn't count. Just scratch it.
So we have one failure and one outlier. He'll probably come back. Hey, what is that? Hey guys.
Hey guys, he'll come back. Yeah, exactly.
Hey guys, he'll come back.
That's why I'm happy. Like I uploaded this video a few weeks back. Sylvester cat kept going after Tweety Bird, and he wanted to eat the bird, but this other cat said, "No, we talked over this." And before the other cat came, he just broke down, and I titled it "Golden Pussy" on it because he's like, I'm weak, and I don't care. That's how some people are. We're gonna need like an AA meeting. I think the thirst is gonna get so bad. We're gonna need an AA meeting for dudes just chasing out the pussy like in validation every
That's
time.
where, I used to run some AA meetings. I use a DNA counselor, so I used to I'm very familiar with what goes on and everything. And at one point, I noticed that 60% of the guys, and I did the math and over in my head for a long time, and I say 60% of these guys don't have alcohol problems. 60% of these guys have woman problems, and they're drinking themselves to death.
Yep. That's why we need an AA meeting for women, man. I would happily just show up there and go, but yeah.
This is if we form like MGTOW, like if we wanted to transcend and activate out in the community, that would be the perfect program to kind of mimic. And I always thought that's like little meetings, and you just kind of, anonymity is important, and you just kind of hide and get around, tell your stories. Hi, I'm Joe, and I was once married. We can get that shit off our chest, and it would probably save millions and millions of lives.
Oh yeah, PUAs will be the first one in there. I mean, I can imagine they're gonna have a few relapses, but they'll get the message over time.
The PUAs would be out in the parking lot trying to sell strippers.
Guarantee we're gonna get one guy that's gonna come in there relapse and I'm sorry guys, I sniffed panties like one time. I had to reduce my outtake. I'm only sniffing 2 pairs of panties instead of 5.
Yeah, you get up now. You got to go talk. You got to be the speaker. Like, hi, I'm Bob. I had my relapse. This is how it was. This is what it was like, and this is how it was, and this is what it's like now.
Because I have legit seen dudes go into a cold sweat from not getting laid, man. It's pretty crazy.
I was addicted so bad, man. I was trying to snort that stuff. I put it in my mouth.
Oh man, we're gonna have to have like those little nicotine patches. We're gonna have like we need pussy patches for some of these motherfuckers, man. Like
estrogen patches. Like, this is a small dose of that estrogen you've been seeking. Like, you're just gonna get the edge off. It's like methadone. Christ. Oh, yeah, this is a small dose of bacteria mixed with estrogen. It's pheromones.
God, I feel like we're missing out on a untapped market, man. I really do. Like, God, that needs to be a thing.
Yeah, I could put bacteria and estrogen in a pill if they want to take it.
I mean, hell, they'll take everything else, man. I once knew a dude at the gym. Well, we didn't know each other, but I used to go to this gym many years back. Skinny guy. He started taking the steroids, man, to impress this chick, and it's just, oh my God, it was just really bad. It got to a point every time I would start lifting, because I didn't have same muscle definition, I would just be lifting, and he would count. And I didn't have a problem with him counting until the woman walked by the restroom, and I kind of stopped and looked at him because this is what he did. 1, 2, 3, 4. Woman walks by. 98. 99.
Yeah, that's a joke with me and my buddies. Every time when I was walking in the house, I grab a weight and I go 130, 140.
Oh, damn, you're missing a lot of numbers in there, don't you think? Just skip right ahead.
Oh man, well, we need a program of like that to weed these guys off, and then we can start talking about the steps, the MGTOW steps.
I got him back for that shit one day too. Just I followed him around in every machine. He's like, "Leave me alone." I was like, "No, just do what you do to me every day. I'm here. 1002, 1003."
You're only cheating yourself. What is that Mr. Brady saying when you're only cheating yourself?
I honestly feel like the fucking Al Bundy of fucking MGTOW sometimes, man. People just get mad at the things I say.
Yeah. Yeah, your sharpness out in the world should grow, and it should turn into almost sarcasm sometimes if you're a MGTOW. And then most of them aren't going to get the joke. you walk out laughing like you didn't get it. Stupid.
Oh man.
Yeah, the jokes, the MGTOW jokes of them are like flybys. They'll wake up in the middle of the night and go, "I fucking got motherfucker." Just got what he said. It took 2 days.
Yes.
That's how slow the simp mind is. It's got to get through all that vaginosis, and then there's a layer of fucking estrogen, and then there's another layer of just plain stupid, and plain stupid, like it materializes in a material sense around their brain, and nothing really gets through that.
Yeah,
you can look it up on a periodical chart and everything. It's just stupid. It's a new element.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm always telling people, like, man, if you want to live a long life, don't get married, just don't do any of that stuff. That's how our lives are actually shortened. And naturally people get mad at me for saying that. I had a cousin, she don't deal with me anymore because I told her. She said the reason men go is because of bad health and eating habits. I'm like, yeah, that might play a role in, or else they just want to get away from you. And she's like, yeah, that's not a nice thing to say. I mean, that may not be a nice thing to say, but hell, it's the truth. I mean, she says, well, how are you gonna feel when you get old and you didn't have kids, you didn't have a family? I bet no one's gonna come to your funeral. I was like, no, there'll be a few people to show up, mostly animals. And the great part about it is, when I finally go, I'm pretty sure I have like some weird female nurse or something. Death's gonna show up. And I told her this is exactly what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be there with my bag and everything. Okay, man, you're late. Who do I need to speak to? To your manager? Okay, let's go. You're fucking late. Take me where I gotta be. I've been waiting to get away from this bitch for hours.
I love that saying. Well, you're gonna die alone, and then I'm thinking, yeah, so will you, but at least I'll die happy.
Yeah. So I might come back 2 seconds, just go worth it. That didn't pass right there. Just worth it. She said I'm an evil spirited person. Like, no, I'm just saying I want it to be open. I want it to be open casket just so people can see my smile. I have a big sign in the back that just said "Didn't get married." Worth it.
Worth it.
Achieved so much. Learned to spent my years learning languages. I mean, thought about learning Spanish. That's what I'm getting ready to say. I thought about learning Spanish, but I figured, hey, I might as well learn some Russian while I'm at it. And what inspired this was my train set had a bunch of Russian letters on it. And I was like, oh, crap. Couldn't read it. So after deciphering that, I decided to kind of brush up on a little Russian because, I don't know, it may come in handy someday.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the little one thing I want to do on my deathbed is like, I'll be like, come closer. I gotta tell you something. In a wet willy. And then I'll just laugh and fade away.
Yeah, here lies the most interested man here. I told one relative, they got mad at me because like me and her, we just born not liking each other. And so I should have told her that this was one of my aunts on my dad's side of the family. Me and her just don't freaking like each other. Her, like, she got mad. She's like, you won't be saying that at my funeral or whatever. You'll be crying. I was like, no, I'll be sad for a moment. And after everything's all done, I'll just say, bring in the cement truck. And we got to make sure this thing is filled. I do not want this coming back as a zombie. Covering all bases.
Oh man, we started this tradition as Scott died, and Mike comes in and he's like, he walks up to the cast and he goes, and everybody's expecting this calm shit, and he goes, "You mother effer, we got some shit we gotta talk about." Later on, it was Mike died, and then I can't remember who walked up, and he was like, "You motherfucker, you got some shit that we gotta talk about." Kind of started a tradition of between us friends. I'm sure when I die, someone's gonna run up and go, "You motherfucker," and everybody will laugh.
But you know, life is good though. It's good.
Yeah, you should make it good. It is good for us, and we can laugh and smile and look at it, watch all the absurdities as they unfold. And that's the MGTOW bench. You get to sit on the MGTOW bench, and the MGTOW bench is a yellow bench that nobody else can see. It's just sitting there glowing in the park. You sit down with your pop, and you get the popcorn, and you just watch all the maters and the breeders doing stupid stuff. And you just sit there all day and just giggle to yourself. Or eating pop. It's better than a movie.
I just watching the hens and the roosters get together. That's what I always call it. And I love.
See what he just did? He's simping. Me and my buddy were sitting there on a bench once, and the guy was simping, and he goes, "He's simping." And we're like, "Yep, he's simping. He's simping hard now." Laughing. But you get the world unfolds in front of you, and you don't participate in all that garbage, and it's just funny. It's just you notice the little idiosyncrasies of these people, and they're all the same. They all start acting the same and then saying the same stuff, and it gets more and more absurd to the point of like comedy. It's like life is a satirical fucking comedy.
That's exactly why. I don't know if reincarnation is a thing, but I've been telling everybody I want to come back as a rooster. And people ask me why. I said, I want to come back as a rooster just because when someone starts simping, I want to wake up early in the morning and just go, cock-a-doodle-doo! Simp-a-doodle-doo!
That video I made. And this is the sound of the Jacana. Cock! Cock! Oh, Jesus, it's just all too funny. It's just, what else can we do? I mean, it's absurd, and we just notice it now.
Yeah, it's the crazy. I mean, the way I see society, I guess I'm black pilled in the sense to where I thought about trying to go in there and save it, but now I'm at the point let the fucker burn. Just let it burn, because some good's gonna come out of this too. People are gonna learn for once, and those that don't will perish. And it's kind of like it's like nature is weeding out the idiots all on their own. You don't have to fix stupid. You don't have to try to do anything. Just give them enough rope. That's all you got to do. Let evil kill itself.
All the big saying, all a man needs is a rope and something to hang himself.
Yeah,
you live in a dry area, or you live in a dry area?
Yeah, a little humid, kind of like a sticky heat.
Oh, sticky. You got what kind of vultures you got there?
Oh man, we got some huge ass vultures. The damn things that almost look like eagles. They're huge.
Okay, is it northern area or southern?
That's northern. I'm kind of in the middle, but a little more
so
northern.
You got the turkey vultures too, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I seen? I was riding up the street, and it's very an odd sight around here. We got the turkey vultures. You know the turkey vultures. They're huge, and they resemble an eagle. And
yeah.
If they're flying, but the wings kind of go backwards a lot, and they're like 8 feet. They're the extent of this room, you know. But I was going up the street, and I looked, and I was, oh, there's a vulture, and then I looked, and he had the red head, and it was the other kind of vulture, and I was wondering what you call that other kind of vulture. It was not the turkey vulture. It was the southern vulture. And I was like, well, that's a weird sight up here. It was eating a dead bird off the street, too. I was like, that's what they do.
It might be. I think it might be called a red-headed vulture.
A red-headed
I-
vulture. Yeah, it had the bald head with the red and yellow stripes, and it looked really nasty. And I was like, that's an ominous sight. I was just sitting, I
Yeah,
filmed it for like 5 minutes, and like people were going by and going, "Damn, look at that!" Just
see,
mid-size. Now the ones that we got, that one was kind of small compared to the
yeah,
turkey vulture. I mean, we get some big vultures.
yeah. Vultures are like the flying version of hyenas. Man,
Yeah,
God, I hate them damn things. Whenever they feel like they can take you, they will.
yeah.
They
They
will
do
test
one
you.
thing rather well, and they tell the weather and when spring is going to break, and when the vultures come back, they move where the carrion uh, is comparatively to the weather pattern. So they know that at this point between the winter and spring that there's going to be a lot of carrion. So they move from the south to the north in that manner, and they very attuned with the weather. So that's the good part about, at least turkey vultures are, and the desert vulture, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, they got vultures have the easiest time getting meals. They just wait for
Yeah,
something to drop. So
just sit by the highway and there's gonna eventually during the day there's gonna be a meal.
yeah,
one of
you
those
know,
uh, one of those woodchucks or the raccoon are gonna commit suicide.
yeah. That's why, like, even culturally, in many cultures, just the act of seeing a flock of vultures staring at you, it's a bad freaking omen half the time. If they sit there, they stare at you, that's a bad sign.
Now there's this one place as you
Usually.
go down. I can't remember. It's someplace in Ohio, and it's kind of southeast, more east and south, like middle. And there's an area where you can see from the highway. Where there's a lot of there's like swampland, and all the trees in that swampland because they made it had died. And then when I go past there's always like 10 or 12 vultures sitting in those dead trees. I'm like, that's an ominous sight.
Yeah.
They sit, they kind of look creepy, and they're like, and I always wonder what that area is, why they particularly like that, because it has to be food.
Yeah. Vultures will even eat each other. I mean, they generally will team up for food, but when they get pissed off at each other, they will eat each other too. Like nothing's off the menu when it comes to them.
Yeah, yeah. There's always a constant fight for the calories and fat. They're going after the fat, and uh, yeah, they like those intestinal organs. You ever sit and watch one do that? Eat another bird? It's like they're pulling out the little stringy things, and it's like, ooh, that's kind of that's a little over the top.
It's like spaghetti dinner for them.
Yeah, it's like a spaghetti dinner for them. He was. I got the video. I'll put it. I'll put it in one. I'll put it in your Google and show you. I got about 5 minutes of it. You'll have to sit and watch it. It's like, ooh, that's a. I was look at them do that. I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, like
It really is. Man.
it gives you a whole new appreciation on life and everything. And I was happy that when I was younger, I was happy my dad taught me that. I thought he was like having me go out there and hunt stuff for the sake of killing it. He's like, no, we're not like trying to torture this thing. We're
No,
killing it so we can eat. And I was like, well, why do we have to do that? Why can't we just go buy something? And I was a kid at the time. I didn't understand. But then he told me he said, even if we were to do that, I just want you to understand, in order for you to live, something has to die.
right. Yeah. Yep.
And I carried that with me. I carried that with me to this day. I mean, and that means a lot of things, not just food wise. Like something, you know, not just in a food sense. Like something has to be done in order for you to thrive. I mean, food's just not going to come falling out of the sky. I mean, it's cool if it does, but for the
Yeah.
most part, it taught me. That's what taught me discipline and kind of gave me a really good blueprint for a work ethic because yeah, something has that you have to put something in motion in order to reap anything. It doesn't mean you're going to reap something, but you have to always be in motion. And he wanted me to, he was teaching me that to gain a respect for life. And so I learned not to turn away from stuff like that anymore. And because I told him, well, don't you feel, bad when I asked him, don't you feel bad when, you kill an animal? And he said, well, it's not about feeling good or feeling bad. It's just something that needed to happen so that I could live. You shouldn't feel one way or the other about it. You should just feel neutral. So,
Yeah.
it was a good feeling.
Yeah, there's difference in culture. The weirdest thing I ever seen in my life, not in my life, it was very strange that the difference in cultures between people. There was a guy that I lived in inner city Cleveland, and anybody that lives in the inner city knows that every tree's got a squirrel. And some have got 2 or 3 squirrels in there, and there's just a shitload of squirrels in the inner city. And there's no shortage of squirrels in the city. There was this guy, he moved up from West Virginia, and he lives out in the mountains and stuff. And he was just walking around one day going, man, you guys don't eat these things? And then the next day he's walking around in the inner city shooting them. And he had a whole bag full of squirrels. At that time, it was like 1984 or something, and when somebody called the police immediately, there's this guy in the city shooting all the squirrels, and he had to pay a $120 fine for each squirrel.
Damn. I know he wasn't happy about that.
He just didn't understand. So there was a cultural difference there. I thought that was kind of unfair. I was trying to explain I was talking to the game warden, and he was like, "Oh, we're giving him $100." I said, "No, man, the guy doesn't know. It's like catching a fish, and you don't know it's not in season. He just didn't know. No one ever explained to him." I think the warden was like, "I explained to him now." It's like, dick. You're a dick.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of funny because I remember many years ago, I must have been about 20 at the time. There was this girl I was interested in. She wanted to go on this safari, and needless to say, that relationship didn't go anywhere because I told her. She said, "I want to take pictures of the animals and everything. You wouldn't understand. You don't like animals." I'm like, yeah, okay, I wouldn't understand. I hate animals so much. That's why I live amongst them. But she's telling me like, well, I want to go on safari. Why don't you want to go? I was like, well, it sounds exciting until I think about because she told me think about how the animals feel. I am considering how the animals feel when you're in that Jeep. I wonder if the cheetah, the lion, or the jaguar, the leopard ever think to themselves, wow, Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, what they do.
Somebody tell Bob the lion, Lunchables are in style again. That that kind of thing, because it's just like, wow, that looks weird to the animals and everything. And so for me, I think to myself, I wish we as humans could be more like the animals in the sense to where we just do what we can, just to survive. Because when you're focused on your survival, you don't really have time to focus on just, hurting anybody else or anything like that, or doing anything evil for the most part.
Community cooperation becomes, or you can go the opposite direction there, and community cooperation becomes important. Whichever way you want to go on that, but the loss of individuality is great, and
that's why I've always, in my opinion, I've always thought that there needs to be, because I've heard people argue that that the state we live in is due to too much individualism, and the reason I disagree with that is because what we're seeing now is not an overabundance of individualism. It's actually an overabundance of collectivism, because individuals don't do the kind of crap that you see today. Most people who are true individuals, they focus on themselves. They don't focus on everything that they have no control of, or wish people death for disagreeing and shit like that, and all the other crazy stuff. That's a collectivist mindset.
Right. It causes the conflict between the communalism and that's expected, and collecting grains and stuff like that, so your whole community can eat stuff. That's good stuff and everything, but the kind of cooperation that's demanded and a lack of individuality sense, it promotes a cognitive in your personality. There's a conflict between extroversion and neuroticism, and it's not good for people. You have to come to one conclusion, that you're going to be more extroverted and outgoing in that situation, or it's going to become neuroticism if you're discontentful with that situation.
Yeah.
And then,
And that's why there needs to be a healthy balance. And
yeah, there needs to be a healthy balance of cooperation, and let's just say it's cooperation rather than communalism, or what's the word you used?
Individualism or collectivism. There needs to be.
Collectivism, yeah, collectivism, sort of a bad word of it. That's when it's gone too far. Collectivism.
Yeah.
It should be cooperation. You should cooperate, and it should be the freedom to cooperate, and it shouldn't be imposed on you. But when you lose the freedom to cooperate, it becomes collectivism.
And that's the problem we see today. I mean, we see a bunch of people fighting so hard to be unique to the point where they've become uniquely the same.
Right, they become uniquely the same. If you're reading this whole thing, there used to be a great poster, and it was on a movie. Though back when I was a kid, I can't remember which movie it was, and they put these posters up, and it started off with big print, and it ended up with real little print, and it told all the ways where you becoming a collectivist, and then it says, if you read this whole thing, you're a collectivist. That's a great little poster. I always thought it had a point to it. Like, if you believe in all the things that you've read on this, you're a collectivist. And you're just a collectivist, or an individualist. There's a difference between, and I try to explain that one. There's a difference between individualism and individualistic.
Yes, exactly. I mean, for example, I mean, a lot of people don't want to consider this, but many of the greatest artists and musicians to ever live in human history, the one thing that they all share in common is that they were more of the dreamer types.
Yeah.
So they were high on individualism and less on collectivism. I don't know a single great musician to ever live that really supported the mainstream society, because they.
Right. Yeah, with individualism, you should find your agency.
Yeah.
And as soon as you find your agency, you're an independent person. You think, you act, you dress, you reflect all those things of an individual agency. You're an agent of that thing that you are. But a lot of people just become collectivists on that, and you never really find your agency in collectivism. You're just it's like what do you call those? What's the people my son hate? I always talk about not the hipsters. You just become a hipster, and it becomes a whole. You're wearing a steampunk hat not because you're a fucking train conductor, just because everybody else is wearing steampunk hats.
Yeah, and the funny part about it is, not all hippies were full of shit back then. Some of them were really cool, and they talked about having responsibility.
Unique individuals that just, they did their farming, they did their, they wanted to grow a little pot, they wanted to do it their way. That's a very unique, responsible thing to do. But when the bad part is when you got the Charles Manson sort of collectivism come into that, and then, and it's like they didn't know how to do what they said they wanted to be, then they weren't willing to learn it.
Yeah, that was the thing for a while when the hippie thing first started, and people became, beatniks and everything. And the reason I talk about this is because I grew up, with stoners, goths, and hippies and everything. Even knew a few old beatniks. They were really awesome. The thing about it is, and these guys will tell you, by the way, that they hate the hipsters. And the reason why we have such an adamant dislike towards the hipsters is that the hipsters did the one thing that we had never wanted it to happen. They turned it into a fucking trend. They did the one thing that we didn't.
Into a trend. Yeah, they mimic each other.
And that was the
mimicry
thing.
is a human trait too that you have to watch out for, because it becomes aggressive mimicry.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. I mean, I had to explain this to my nephew and a few other people, like, well, but you always shit on the hippies. No, I shit on the hipsters. That's those are the people I shit on
There's a
predominantly.
difference
Not
between a hipster and a hippie, and hippies
yeah.
are, just hippies. I grew up with a lot of hippies. As a matter of fact, my neighborhood was a hippie neighborhood. My parents were, one of my parents were a hippie, a real hippie, not the fake hippies. They're real hippies when I grew up, and it was different. It was very much different back then, and I even reflected in my character, my attitude, it's something that sticks with me for I try to take all the positive attributes of that I learned, and but at one point I did run from that as fast as I could.
Yeah, I mean, it can become overbearing. I had an uncle that was a lot like that. He was but the thing was he wasn't one of those, lazy or irresponsible hippies. It was more along the lines of, okay, farm, work, do your thing, brother. Just
Right,
don't like
yeah.
mess up my shit kind of thing. He was, I guess you could say he was like a responsible hippie, if that makes any sense. He would pick up trash, garbage, and he hated the other hippies with a passion because
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, I do that every morning. I go up to when I'm driving my bike past the little thing. I pick up all the garbage, and the store owner just looks at me like, "Why do you do that?" It's like just because what I do. It's just I pick up the garbage.
yeah, I mean, because nobody wants to see all that stuff, and there's some people that just don't understand that. I do the same thing. If I go to a section of the woods or something, I notice people threw Ruffles, bag of chips in there. I'll pick it up, recycle it, or burn it, or whatever. And
Fire
I
and
bet
burn. And,
my friends are
take
like,
care
"Why
of
do you
it.
do that?" Because I said because I consider the outdoors almost like my backyard in a sense, and then
Yeah,
I
this is
anyway.
church here.
Yeah, I pick it up and I put it away. And yeah, my uncle had like a strong disdain towards the other hippies because a lot of people jumped onto the hippie thing and then they thought, oh, this just means we could be irresponsible and
Yeah,
lazy and
they
stupid.
like
And
the drug aspects and the sex and that becomes the cultural part of it that is distasteful.
yeah, I mean, and that was the thing.
Even
I
the
was,
sex it was more about you know back then it was about freedom. It was I'm not going to put no bullshit on you, and you're not going to put no bullshit on me. And feminists from that era, from the early hippie era, understood they had responsibility, and if they did get pregnant, they're going to have to raise those kids. And then but they weren't willing to say, okay, we're going to turn to Uncle Sam and he's going to make him my slave. That's what the
yeah,
original feminism was about: understanding your role, your body, your choice. You have kids, early hippies, and it's probably why I'm so fascinated with that idea or in tune with it, is because they understood that this is going to be a cooperation, and if we take care of the women if they do, but there ain't going to be no possession involved with this. You don't own him, and she don't own you, and there is no marriage.
and that's the way it should have been in all
That's the way it
honesty.
should be. Yeah. That's a more honest way of looking at it. And if we all just cooperate a little bit in this situation, then we all become, the fathers in sexual cryptness that sexual cryptness demands, and then it gets taken care of instead of, making people slaves to it.
Exactly. I mean, that's why few people know this about me. A lot of people just think I'm an asshole. No, I take a Gandhi level approach to stuff to where I won't fuck with someone unless they go out of their way to mess with me. I'll step down and take a loss. It's rare that I ever get mad about anything. I mean, that whole Ask Nathaniel thing, that was a rarity. If you ever see me pissed off at someone, it's because they deserve it. It is rare that I ever get mad. You'd have to be trying to piss me off
Right.
because
Very few things get me angry. It's just, invasion of personal space and someone thinking I'm their slave.
exactly. I mean, I got mad because there's people like him and all other stuff that think that you have to agree with them and have to do things their
Right.
way. And this is what upsets me about like such guys and such people. He calls every guy who travels to another country to date women a passport perv, and so it's like you have to date
Yeah.
and do things his way, or you're not doing it the air quote right way. And
Yeah.
this is why I hate people like that because they're part of the problem. They're not part of the solution. They're part of the problem. That's the kind of guy that wants a woman to be his,
Right. His slave.
yeah, they want a woman to be their slave. And on top of that, they want a traditional chick, but they're not willing to do anything. I mean, you go to his,
Right.
if anyone go to his channel, look at anyone that goes that dude's channel. The one thing they all have in common, they don't know how to build. You'll never hear them talking about a book. They essentially can't do anything for themselves, but they'll talk about how masculine they are, and it's
Yeah.
cute and funny at the
It's
same
cute,
time.
funny. Yeah, it's the. I was talking at the beginning of this video. It's why I put the interaction with those properties. They're telling on themselves because they're interacting, and these properties come from that. And then it shows so blatantly to us that there's going to be consequences for that, them actions, them interactions, and you're telling on yourself. You're telling a lot more to a MGTOW than what you'd rather. You couldn't even admit to it amongst your friends. You're telling them you're simping, you're lazy, you're not willing to do your own laundry, make your own bed. You want someone to cook for you. You want a slave. Them are horrible attributes for a masculine male.
Yeah, that's a terrible relationship to be in, and that's
Yeah,
why
you're
I'm
objectifying. And I always say, if you don't want feminists to call you those things, don't be them things.
exactly because they give them those are the guys that give those women ammunition, and
Yeah, they're
they're
giving
just
free ammunition out. Every feminist gets a 12 pack of M16 bullets.
thanks to these guys, man. And some of them, I encountered one of his subs. I lost 12 subs because some of his subs were subbed to me, and I gave them the option to leave, and they took
Yeah,
it. And
they took
and
it.
I'll tell you why. I mean, they knew that they weren't going to penetrate or discredit me because I wasn't mad about the petty insults and stuff the guy said to me. I was angry because he denied me the right to defend myself, and then he
Right.
tries to discredit me. And I'm not saying that my version of masculinity is the only one that matters. It's just this is something that most men all over the world will agree with. Stoic masculinity is you more or less the default of masculinity anyway. And when it
Right.
comes to things such as building, I'm not saying that people have to go out and build a castle or anything, but just crafting, expressing an interest in this, that in
Right.
itself is masculine because we don't give birth. We
Right.
we
Just
we express that through building.
yeah, we was talking about that with a friend. What are you leaving in this world? Are you one of those people that are going to leave less? Are you going to take more and leave less? Or are you leaving? When I talk about my bikes are going to be here far after I die, and I'm leaving a piece of art that I really, really put a lot of effort into making it the most beautiful thing in the world. Uh, that's my impact. I'm not, I'm very green conscious about, I don't drive. I save 2,000 gallons of gas a year by doing this. I'm very conscious about that. These are the things I will leave. I mean, I think them are all good things.
Ex- Exactly. I mean, and
You know,
that's why.
in my life too, God, I mean, I spent half a lifetime in industrial situations in industry, and some of the things I've done are marvelous. Them things are going to last hundreds of years after I'm done.
And I feel the same way. That makes me feel happy knowing that I achieved something or built something that's going to be around long after me. And when you try to tell just the average normie this, and I've had someone tell me, well, you can get the same from if you had a kid or something. I said, no, it doesn't work that way for men. It'll never work that way for men. Only a fool would think that. And they're like, why? Don't you care about children? I was like, no, it's not even a concern thing. When a woman has a child, that is more so her accomplishment.
It's her accomplishment. That's her child.
Yeah, it's her child. It's her accomplishment. And yeah, you may be the father of that, but the only thing you did was plant the seed. And I'm not taking away, like, I'm not saying that men love their children any less or anything like that. What I'm saying is that's more so a woman's accomplishment because our body is prepped and to do that. Like,
Her
that's
body
a
makes
lot
it
on.
from mitosis. As soon as mitosis starts, it's a big process to go through in your head, and the G1 and G2 stages of that and everything. There's nothing about you left after the two sister cells spread. It's
Yeah.
100% her. There's two cells in that whole thing that may have one strand of your somatic DMA in it, And then after that, she's just duplicating it. She's taking it. She took a picture of your DNA, and that's 100% her after 2 cells.
Exactly. And a lot of
Watch,
dudes
watch.
get
I just knocked off 100.
That's what a lot of dudes get scared or upset when you tell them that. Like, what do you mean, man? You're saying my kid isn't mine? No, I'm not saying like yours. I'm merely saying that a woman goes through, the oxytocin kicks in. A woman goes through actual stages. So
Right.
that's her accomplishment. The only stage a man goes through when they have a kid is that money just winds up disappearing from their wallet quicker.
Yeah, that whole process with their attitude, that makes fatherhood just makes men responsible for something that they are very little responsible for. It takes responsibility and accountability away from the female, and that's so traditional, and it plays into such a role where, like you were saying, now they've got something that's sociologically makes them believe that they left something on this planet instead of doing an actual physical act or a piece of art or a piece of writing, which more represents what they were. They can believe in this metaphysical thing that and it calms their soul, and it's just drugs, or it's fake, and it's illusionary, and it's just a social concept that makes you feel better about your worthless existence.
Yeah, and that's the sad part. A lot of people can't break out of that, and I've told many men this, especially even on my own channel. None of them are ever really happy when I tell them this, but it's true. The only type of way they're gonna feel that thing that women feel when they have a kid, or even remotely come close to it, is by teaching the kid values. That's it.
Right.
That's the closest it
The
gets.
one job you can possibly do is mentor a child into, and then that gets taken away from us. The only thing we could possibly do is we can mentor a child from a distance by showering it with money. That's so absurd, and that's so barbaric.
Exactly, and it angers me a lot. I was in when I was in that fucking stream and had the women going after me like, oh yeah, he just wants to have a kid by himself, because I mentioned just adopt my own kid or just doing surrogacy or whatever, just something I was toying around with. But that was like a little test, and all the women got mad. What do you mean you don't need a woman? I said, well, I just am going about it in the most efficient way possible. The thing that pissed me off was, for me, I refuse to just throw money at a kid. If I had a kid, I refuse to throw money at it, because I'd rather be there to see the process from start to finish. Okay, this is what I'm going to teach you. This is how I do it. You can either expand upon this or throw it in the trash, completely your choice, but let it never not be said that I wasn't there. That's the thing. I mean, at least you were there, and I can feel good about that. But as far as all the other stuff, women feel that. I mean, you get men walking around acting like they're the one having the baby, and it's pretty freaking ridiculous. I mean, I have to almost just want to slap them. Like, you are not having the baby. Psh, stop acting that way, you know. It's insane, but people place this great importance on having a kid, and they believe that it's going to bring them some type of longevity. And it kind of doesn't. I mean, okay, congratulations, you had a kid and everything, and people think I belittle the action. I'm not belittling the action. It's more of the reason for the action. If a person has a kid just to air quote continue the bloodline or continue the race or whatever crap the thing on, that's a pretty shitty reason to have a kid, no matter how you look at it. Because being born doesn't automatically, they act like a child being born, that child's going to it looks just like me, that means it's going to think like me, have my values, I've saved the breed, I've saved the blood. They didn't save shit. And it's hard for them to come around to that truth. Having a child means nothing without the values and the love being there.
Yeah, it's the whole act. You know, one of the biggest lies that is perpetuated on the besides Darwin's rib. You know, that was the big lie about Jesus. The get man, he took one rib from him, and people believe that men are walking around with one short rib. That's one of the biggest biological lies there is. And if you ask but when you look at mitosis, and you look at how kids are made and everything, and you look at the you can just go to Khan Academy and look at this thing and look at it and you'll realize how little the male plays, the role the male plays in this. And then if you think about what I said, there's no such thing as fatherhood. It's a social concept. And you read that, you'll soon realize that this is like Darwin's rib. The biggest lie perpetuated on men today is they are fathers.
Yep, and that's the kicker.
And that's the kicker. You could take a cell from a caveman that's been dead, frozen in a lake of ice for 10,000 years, and insert it in there, and it probably will take.
Yeah, a lot of people like to take the duck approach and go, if we have X amount of kids and X amount of them get hurt, the others will learn, screw, and pass on. Yeah, good luck with that one.
Good luck with that. Yeah, the thing that MGTOW can really perpetuate is the idea that we want feminists to be responsible too. We want them to be. It's just we want everything in the world for them that they deserve and have those kids taken care of. But we don't want to be slaves, and that's the more natural way about this thing. And really, we had very little to do. It was your choice to open those things up from the inception. You know, they act like they act like the choice was taken from them, and they had no agency in that.
Yeah.
When you start from the inception that your choice was taken and you have no agency, no wonder it would irritate them so much that the MRA and the traditional conservative approach that. No wonder it would, because yes, you're acting like a child and you don't have any agency if you think that way. No, you had agency. You were strong. You were be responsible. You should have a job. You should be able to take care of that kid. And then society will take care of all your other needs. And we do. There's nothing to argue about here except for the idea that Uncle Sam robs that system so badly that they have to hold men responsible for double taxes in the shape of child support.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I mean, women should have never been given that option, because when they didn't have that option, they had to really be careful with who they had a kid with.
Be careful. You have agency. They have agency. They have choice. All POV is not rape. You made that choice. You went to the bar or whatever you fucking did and spread those things, and you were happy to make that choice. And don't act like women don't act like they didn't have that choice and they don't have no agency. But most of the time in life is like, he got me pregnant. That's the biggest fucking lie in the world. He didn't get you pregnant. You got yourself pregnant. You know what your body does. It's your body, your choice.
Yeah, the problem is they want all the rights of an adult and responsibility of a child, and this is the problem.
Rights of an adult and responsibility of a child.
And this is the problem. That whole
and it's not like we throw all that much responsibility. We take care of them. We have taxes. We have a very good social program for that.
And not to mention, it's just that whole, women don't want to be held accountable for their mistakes, like regret sex and all this other stuff. And I remember that whole Bill Cosby thing came out. I had a bunch of people mad at me just because I said this one simple thing. I said, I don't know whether that happened or whether it didn't happen, but I just want to throw out one thing. Why wait 50-something years to then decide, oh, I felt uncomfortable 50 years ago? Well, you didn't feel uncomfortable. I mean, hell, this just seems like not something you wait on, but now this is why a lot of men don't mess with modern women. Well, somebody can come after you like 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, and who the hell really remembers what the hell happened like 40 years ago?
That had a very good legal system on rape and that stuff, and it was the egress system. How many doors did you have to open and go through to get to that situation? How many decisions did you have to say? When you think about that, I went over there, I got in the car, I rode over there, I opened the door to get out of the car, I opened the door to go in the house, I opened the door to go in the bedroom. You opened how many doors, and you egressed into that by your own choice. And if you in their legal system, I can't remember which one it is, and if you go over a certain amount of egresses, yes, you made that decision. You are responsible for your decisions. Now,
Yep.
at any point, did you try to ingress? I bet you if you asked them, she wouldn't understand what you were talking about.
They wouldn't, man. They think everything
Oh,
is
it's like
just.
he was a caveman. He just plopped her up on her shoulder and carried her in. No, I don't think that happened.
Yeah, they're making it seem like they have absolutely no agency, and you would think that
you
women would
con
have.
you conned her. You said, "You want to come in?" Oh shit, that's con.
It's a trick.
It's a
You know,
trick. Yeah.
now in the UK and other places, you can actually get in trouble for, telling a woman that, you're either rich or have this expensive car. They actually, they write that under as coercion. And what these stupid PUAs don't understand is they're going to be the first one. It won't be MGTOW that gets hurt by this. They will be the first test subjects of this when everything starts getting related to coercion. Because in the courtroom, coercion equals assault, depending on the situation. It could very easily be linked to assault, and most of the time it actually is. Then once it gets treated as an assault, it turns sexual. So
Right. Yeah.
they're going to be suffering the consequences for that. I tell every man that doubts. I told Mr. Research and his buddy Mike TR long time ago in Nathan's little stream before we had that beef. If they want to know why we're MGTOW, pack a lunch, go down to a divorce court, say nothing, just sit there all day and just watch.
Yeah.
Watch how.
Well, they
those
didn't
people.
allow that in my area. It's like.
A prenup will not save you.
Yeah, prenup will not save you. Well, it's 3 hours and 37 minutes, and I'm getting a little tired here, and I gotta still do a few things here. And so I'm thinking I'm wrapping this up. Hey, Julia Lewis, you still there?
No, it's good talk. Yeah, just listening in. Yeah, it's good talk. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. You got anything to wrap it up with?
Who, me? I mean, just don't be a sucker. I mean, women are cunning. I mean, MGTOW's been around a long time. I mean, Schopenhauer, that quote is excellent. That was over 200 years ago. So, I mean, I think we have enough evidence, and obviously, we know what's going on. So yeah, just don't be a sucker out there. Just continue to learn and grow. So yeah, thanks for having me on. It was good talking to both of you.
Great being here, man. And I guess for my final words, just as I was saying earlier, find hobbies, find things you enjoy, and for better or worse, do what you want to do. Don't wait to be told how to live or what to do. You know what's best for you, and it's not how other people feel, it's how you feel at the end of the day, because you're the one that has to wake up and deal with it. So regardless of what you decide to do in your life, just be content, be happy, and just life is short, it's fleeting. Just live the way you see fit.
Right. Yeah, and I guess we have to be more vigilant in MGTOW. We have to be fearless. We have to be strong, and because we're here to promote the truth, and the truth is going to make this a better planet. Like I said in the low bar, be fearless and be fearless in subverting the world's bad ideas, and we're looking for more efficient ways to do this. And I think MGTOW's on a real track. But like I says, when the truth maker comes, or the truth bearer comes, they will try to hurt them. And always there's risk involved with this, and you're going to have to be that fearless guy that stands up against all these bad ideas, and he's on truth. And that's what MGTOW is. The PUAs don't do it right. The MRAs, so they just cave to the pressure, and it's still up to us. It's still up to you, MGTOWs. I want to thank everybody for coming around and being a MGTOW, and with that, we have a place to hang out and talk about the things that are important to us. And I just want to say, just thanks for being MGTOW, MGTOWs.